You are now listening to the Mental Reps podcast. Now fade out that fresh-ass beat, and let's get this show on the road.
Man, it's like you walk into the store and you're just hit with this wave of fucking color and slogans.
Isn't that so awesome?
I don't know, man.
Think about it. If you're a kid and you just walk in and it's just, you go to the candy aisle.
Yeah, man.
It's like sensory overload.
It is.
Of course.
Then you get to actual like physical overload later on once you consume it.
Flavor overload.
Yeah, man.
Well, there's just so much of it, and there's such an abundance of like all these different kinds and these crazy like flavors that they do together.
They're making flavors that don't even exist in nature. Like
Yeah.
they're making some crazy electronic fruit. It's
Yeah,
just
electronic
hits your tongue and
fruit.
it explodes your tongue off.
And it's
Where do you get this electronic fruit?
Dude, man, it's a
kinda want
mashup.
that.
It's nasty.
But
That's
it's like-
kind of interesting.
and then all on the back wall and all the refrigerators and everything is soda and all this like juice and energy drinks and all this shit. I mean, you walk into any random like convenience store or a 7-Eleven and that's what you're gonna find. It's just like
There's no
it's-
real food in that store. It's
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
And then they've got all that super
Madness.
processed, like the sandwiches, and you go and see all those old hot dogs just like rolling around on the grill or whatever. They look like they've been there for like 3 days. That shit's horrible.
When I was
Yo.
a kid, I used to murk those hot dogs.
Yeah, those hot
right
dogs are
away.
the fucking best, bro. They're so delicious.
You saw that
They're
guy
awful for
from
you, though.
McDonald's who was saying that, oh, we don't serve junk food.
yeah.
or
Oh,
whatever.
my family eats at McDonald's
like,
too. Oh,
Are you
you
shitting me,
idiot.
dude? Loser denial. Anyway. Well, this is episode 10 of the Mental Reps podcast. It's May 26, 2013. Thank you for listening. Happy Memorial Day weekend. I guess we hope you guys are enjoying your barbecues or whatever the fuck you guys are doing out there on your Memorial Day. But I'm your host, Brian Wright, this week and every week. I'm joined by the crew.
I'm Jeff Dockin. You can look me up, whatsupdoc.com. Just started some new projects and shit. Should be interesting.
Nice. DOKK.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm Rico G. You can find me on Twitter at Afro_sunrise.
And I'm Michael Stewart. You can find me on Twitter at unenumerated right. There's an 8 in there.
There's an 8 in there.
It's in the middle, right?
Yeah.
You can
where do you want it to be this week?
towards
You
the
want it to be at the middle?
I want the
All
end.
right, that's good.
All right, we're going to have to fight about that.
You
You
would
can
want the
also
end.
follow me on Twitter at mental_reps. Jeff, how can people contact or interact with the show?
Well, primarily you can hit us up at our email address at mentalrepspodcast@gmail.com with any questions, feedback, or topics. We really appreciate the feedback. It's cool to share it with you guys.
Yeah, keep sending them in.
You can
Thank
follow
you.
us on the Twitter at Mental Rep Show. You can like us on Facebook at Mental Reps Podcast and subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/Mental Reps Podcast.
Yes, and also don't forget to subscribe, rate, and comment on iTunes. And thank you guys for listening and rating and comment. That's huge for us, so we appreciate that a lot. I guess what we're going to start off doing this week, and it's something that we've gotten to do with pretty much everybody on the show, but we haven't been able to do it with Jeff yet, is just to do like a short little brief interview just so you guys can get to know our buddy Jeff a little bit better.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got a couple basic questions, a few hypotheticals here and there, and guys, feel free to join in, please, by all means. And but first off, all right, we got Jeffrey Dockin.
Ask me the questions, question master.
I ask you the question. Where are you from?
Well, I was born in Lansdale, Pennsylvania. It's like a little bit outside of Philadelphia there.
Oh, shit.
But I've moved around so much, I've lost track. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
much from everywhere.
How long have you been in South Florida?
For the better part of like a decade, a little more.
So you came here like around high school?
Yeah, like 9th, 10th grade, something like that.
9th, 10th grade. True. So you, I know you've met like Rico and some of these dudes a lot before I ever met you. So you kind of met Rico and like Jesse, who was on the podcast last week. You
we
guys
all went
met?
to high school together, so
Oh,
that was
shit.
Fun fact, I actually did not like you when we first met.
Nice.
Oh, dude, you have to tell me
Because-
why.
Because I was sort of like really emo in high school, and when I was first introduced to Jeff, he was just like, he made this impression of me. He was like a Ricardo, master of the universe, delicious.
Oh yeah,
And I was like,
man.
and being me back then, I was like, that's ridiculous. I've never said ridiculous. I've never said delicious
I
ever.
forgot
That is
about
never
that.
gonna catch on. I don't even know why you say
That's
that.
hilarious.
And almost to this day, whenever I speak to Sal, he's like delicious. And,
That's
but
funny.
I got over it pretty quickly though.
Dude, isn't that so funny how like first impressions, they often are like, they do dictate like the future relationship or whatever, but also you can be completely off and can just be completely wrong. I have a bunch of friends who like at first I just was like, I don't like their vibe, I'm not feeling it, and then next thing you know, you become good friends with them.
Yeah, that's Jeff's sense of humor though. He's kind of always been the kind of the clown of the group.
Kind of realizing their intent. Like, you didn't know where he was coming from, so you're like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? Call me delicious. Get out of my fucking face.
I might have Tourette's, so I don't even know.
So I know that you have like a lot of different interests, but obviously one of them being music. I know that you've done a lot of like rap, beats, all that shit.
I love making music, man. I grew up like playing instruments and stuff, and just making beats and fucking around.
Yeah.
I think I started on the PlayStation. I was playing the MTV Music Generator game.
Oh my god! Wow.
That sparked my interest in like music production. So
that's very cool.
I moved on to like Ableton and Reason. I mostly use Reason now for like all the beat production.
Dude, I remember ever since way back in the day, my cousin's he does beats on like Fruity Loops. He started with that shit.
A lot of people do.
And kind of worked their way up.
Let's go before that. What about the SNES? What was that? Like that Mario game or something? You could generate beats with.
Oh yeah,
remember
that was fucking crazy. You can make like make songs out of like Mario sound effects.
Yeah.
That's how the hell did I not hear about this? That's awesome.
The fire and the flames.
Yeah.
What?
Really
Wow.
Good times.
That's awesome. Oh, through the fire and
I
flames.
never had an SNES. I wish I did growing up, but I had a Sega. I was one of those Sega kids.
Sega.
Nice. I got a question. And this question's kind of for me. not for
Okay.
you. How did I not realize that you cut your hair?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You guys.
I'm a shifting cloud. Of
Jeff had a
possibilities.
mean like 2-year mane bumping for a little while.
I didn't cut my hair for a long time,
Yeah.
and then I had cut my hair. I went to like some shitty little place, and the lady, it was like a language barrier, and I couldn't really understand, and she couldn't really understand what I wanted. So it was.
That's when you get up and you walk
Dude,
away.
when I left, I paid from it. I paid for the haircut, and it looked good. It was like wet, and it like pulled back or whatever. And then when it dried later, I looked in the mirror, and it looked like I was going to be serving turkey legs at like medieval times. Like I should
like a Donny Osmond, like
dude,
Buffon.
She gave me a serious bob. That shit was crazy.
Oh, Bob.
It was like
You
Mary
look
Tyler
like
Moore.
the guy
Mary
from
Tyler Moore.
what's gonna be that serial killer dude with the air pressure gun.
Oh, dude, I love that
Oh.
movie.
Yeah, good call.
From No Country for Old Men. That's fun.
Fucking
No,
awesome
but yeah.
movie.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah, that's the one.
I think it looks good
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, it fits your face.
Oh,
in a
boy.
very
Back to
heterosexual
normal.
way, but yes, I think it looks very good.
Thanks, bro.
So, all right. So you love music. I know you're very creative, also as an artist. You draw. You've painted.
Yeah, I love big, huge movie buff, and I love to draw. Fucking yeah, it's a big part of my life.
But yeah, I know that you were for a while the art director or editor for a magazine, and
Yeah, well, I
you've
try
done a lot of-
to service a lot of clients. You know, I
Yeah.
don't just do like one thing. But I was doing like
that was a big one.
portraits and stuff for Cigar Magazine and doing their like corporate image and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
But I know, dude. What I really love that Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Painting that you did. I talked to Jeff into letting me like keep it in my house for like 6 months or so, and when he just wasn't using it, and man, when he had took it away, I was like, I gotta find out like how I can get like a copy of that or something, because it's so cool. Is it up on What's Up Doc?
I can put it up there. I could put up the original. Maybe somebody will buy it.
Dude, I think that you should, man. There's no way. It's so badass. I don't even want to say anything about it unless you feel like describing it yourself.
Well,
but
it was an attempt to like reimagine a classic video game. So I did like a series. It was like Pac-Man, like depressed, sitting on like a couch watching television, and he was like eating pills and stuff.
and he had like pictures of Miss Pac-Man
Yeah.
and him in the background and shit.
Days gone by.
Yeah, dude, that's cool. But you're a super, super creative dude. So, like, if you guys want to check him out, whatsupdoc.com. He's got SoundClouds. He's got all kinds of different shit. And just super creative is something I always appreciated about
thanks,
Jeff.
dude.
But what are your, like, I know that there's also, as much as we talk about, there's so many cool things that we're interested in and that we find interesting. But what are, like, some of your aspirations or things that you would like to do to potentially change things? Or what are some things that you would like to see change?
Well, man, I would really like to get into like game production, like telling stories. Like I'm a storyteller, really, when it comes down to it. Like I love to draw and like create the impossible from nothing, really. Like whether it's like adapting a book or like a graphic novel or putting something into a game or something, like I'd really like to push some like positive values and stuff. Like Miyazaki was like one of my favorite directors, and what he's done, like putting stories out there. So I'd probably like to do something along the same lines, you know, create some really cool original IPs.
Very cool.
Yeah, you were working on a game for a while, right?
Yeah, we all were. We were making it like a science fiction like platforming game.
Yeah, Sal was telling me about that, and
we'll get back on it. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, it sounded awesome.
I think you guys need to hop back on that shit, finish that up. But
maybe we'll start a Kickstarter.
Honestly, man, I mean, that's the way a lot of people are doing it nowadays. What a great idea!
It seems to be like launching a lot of projects.
Yeah, man, it really is. If you can get enough people interested and get a little word of mouth, I mean, what a great way and a awesome idea. Whoever put that shit together. There's a lot of different cool ways to get your shit out there, and now with Kickstarter, you can get people's help. You can get them interested. You make like a video or whatever, and show them what you're all about, and they can go on there and donate, which is pretty cool. But I know that. Will anybody else have any other questions before kind of wrapping it up? I know.
Yeah, I have a question. I know you do a lot of like martial arts and stuff.
No, I used to. Haven't done that.
You got
in a while.
nunchucks and like by your bed.
Yeah, my stepdad gave me those. Fucking asshole.
Yeah, man. Well, go ahead, Rico. Were you gonna ask him something about martial arts?
Yeah. I was gonna ask. When did you start and why did you stop?
Well, that was also my stepdad's doing. He was like a boxer. He had like golden gloves and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he would attempt to train me and stuff, and I'd just get pissed at him. And from there, I did like karate for a while and jiu-jitsu and stuff, which I don't know. I got out of jiu-jitsu because I just didn't like the intimate closeness you had with like your whole like group.
You weren't like hugging up on some dudes.
Yeah, it's like, all right, now you get on the floor and you mount him. And
how old were you when you were doing this?
I was like in my 20s, like early 20s.
Early 20s. Oh, okay.
Yeah, just not my thing.
All right.
I preferred like Aikido. Like that shit was awesome. Like just misdirecting people's weight to like get them off balance and fuck them up. Like that was like really cool.
Using the momentum against them and shit.
Steven Seagal.
Fighting style.
Oh, Steven Seagal.
Well, I know that you briefly touched on. You mentioned your stepdad. What was your family like? Family life like growing up?
It was terrible, man. Friggin', my parents got divorced and we were like moving around the country and stuff. So I got to see a lot of America that way. So that was kind of cool. But other than that, it was pretty shitty.
So what was so shitty about your stepdad, if you don't mind me asking?
He had like a hyperthyroid condition where like he had adrenaline like constantly circulating through his body, and he would like he would sleep and his eyes wouldn't close, and he would, he was allergic to like penicillin and like all like painkillers and stuff. So
you have like the metabolism of.
Oh yeah, dude, he was working out constantly, like all the fucking time. He was like working out. Like when he wasn't eating, he was working out. Like
Jesus,
madness.
Damn.
So yeah, like huge anger problems, huge like fucking social problems, like aggressive, super aggressive.
So I mean, how did you and the rest of your family kind of deal with that? Did you guys find like solace in each other, or was it something that you had to deal with? Were you living with him for a while with your mom?
Oh yeah, I kind of just like isolated myself as a young person probably would do. You know, I escaped to like video games and Final Fantasy and all that stuff.
I know the feeling.
But man, it was crazy. He had such like roid problems, like not steroids, but like rage issues.
Roid rage.
Like we were driving across the desert from, I think it was Albuquerque to Tucson. We were like trying to move, and we had rented a truck in Tucson. So when we drove all the way to get to Tucson to pick up our shit, he was like trying to like get the truck or whatever, and they promised him one, but they sold out of them and stuff, and he was just flipping out, and he picked up this whole like cart of tires and just like flipped it on its end.
Oh,
like, dude, for real, he flipped that shit. It scared the shit out of everybody. We got kicked out.
Nice. He couldn't keep his cool.
No, man, not at all.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like rough. It was like living on edge for fucking 15 years. I couldn't wait to get out of there.
Yeah, that's super rough, man.
So you live with him. You said that your parents got divorced when you were super young, like
I was in like third grade.
Like
that.
And then you had to live with this dude with this dude and your mom for about 15 years.
Yeah, better part of my life.
Wow. I know I've met your dad. Your dad, your biological father's
my dad's
badass.
cool as fuck, man. I love my dad.
Love that dude. He met like a first time I met him, I went over to your house and he made us like a mean chicken parmesan.
He's
and like
an awesome
pasta.
chef too. Like he's fucking whiz in the kitchen.
It wasn't like one of those things where it's like, oh, I got some extra stuff hanging around. Like we just happened to be there and he had like this full-fledged meal, like chicken parm and shit. I was like, damn, that's pretty sick. But
yeah, much love for my dad. He's a cool guy.
yeah, your dad's cool
Yeah,
too.
he lays it down.
So
In the kitchen.
well, that's cool, man. I mean, as far as like again, just really quickly, what you are interested in doing in the future, besides like, obviously, I know you said you want to create and everything. Are you still interested in doing music or rapping? Or are you just kind of going to focus more on like the artistic, drawing, painting type of thing? Or I know you say you want to be a storyteller as well.
I can't really like separate those things, you know. Like I'm still gonna do all those things regardless because I enjoy them, you know. Like
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine me not producing music or drawing something. So
true. Nice. All right. Well, I don't know. Anybody else with any other questions before we move on with Jeff?
that's all you guys got. That's it.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
what
it.
do you feel like there's anything in particular that you would like to say to tell the listeners?
No, not really.
Not
All right,
really?
I got a question.
I
Yeah.
think that
Go ahead, shoot.
Favorite anime story and least favorite anime story.
Oh shit, do mangas count?
Yes.
Oh man, I think Goyo from Junji Ito.
Mm-hmm.
There's a story about how like fish crawled out of the sea and like invaded land and like took over. That's a really fucking cool story. In fact, he's like one of my favorite artists in general. Like Junji Ito, he's amazing. He's actually a dentist in his full time, and he draws these awesome horror stories in his spare time. Very cool.
I
is
love
this
it,
guy
man.
fellow Japanese.
Yeah, he's a Japanese
Yeah,
guy.
figures.
How'd you guess?
Creativity comes from
overachievers.
everywhere, man. In the strangest places.
All right, favorite video game of all time, if you could have one.
Oh man,
I know that's like picking a favorite child,
it's
but
tough, man. I really liked Front Mission 4. That was a cool ass game.
High five.
I don't even know what that is.
It was
It
a
is
strategy game.
awesome.
You built up little robots and
With
you
giant
had to go-
robots, Jeff. They're not little.
Yeah, relatively little compared to like Gundams or something. But yeah, that was probably like gameplay wise like my favorite.
That was an awesome game, yeah.
3 best rappers alive.
Oh fuck, Dylon, and Dylon.
That is very correct answer. Good call.
Best possible answer right there.
Nice. All right. Well, if you guys have any more questions for Jeff, please feel free to send them in at mentalrepspodcast@gmail.com. And we're going to keep it open throughout the rest of the show. If we have anything else that pops up, we'll make sure to ask him. I know as of right now, we're going to actually hop into questions from you guys and questions from the listeners.
Oh, yeah.
A new way to use your computer to communicate, have fun, and get instant news and information.
Of course, there's my personal favorite, live dinosaurs. You know, I can even send email on the internet. Now, let's look up dinosaurs.
You got mail.
You know, that was a T-Pain song.
T-Pain.
Anyways,
Oh, real quick, dude, that T-Pain, the Miami Dolphins song that
Oh,
they
God.
used for like 2 games and they just scrapped it because everybody was like, I cannot believe that they just did this. That Dolphins and Fins Up, whatever the hell that was. That was horrible. Sorry, go
it was
ahead.
a mashup of pop culture is what that was. All right, we got a few questions. Our first is from Josh from Boca Raton. He writes, do you ever feel like we haven't been contacted by aliens because they know to avoid us?
Is this perhaps our first senior citizen listener?
No.
Boca
I don't think
Raton. No. Ooh.
I would
Go ahead, please.
Oh, I would say yes because I just watched the Star Trek movie that just came out. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's a pretty good movie.
I want to see it.
I liked it.
Yeah, I've never seen any of the previous movies, so I'm not like a fanboy or anything. But it's a good standalone movie by itself. And one of the things they touch on in that movie is that they're not allowed to. They're explorers, and they're not allowed to introduce like higher level technology to other species. They're not allowed to interact with them to disrupt their developmental path is what it's supposed to be. So I pretty much think that almost any intelligent life that is advanced enough to contact us would probably be like, yeah, we should probably avoid these idiots.
Maybe need
Yeah.
to leave
I
them
mean-
alone for another couple decades.
Or they would contact people on like an individual basis. They didn't want to like contact the whole.
That's what I
of people.
think is more realistic.
Like,
yeah.
if like our TV is like any like intuition into like what humanity is like, they probably were coming, and then they like started seeing our television and just turned around.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, like, I mean, the term alien, I mean, I think it could be, like, interdimensional beings or whatever it could possibly be. I don't know. I think a lot of people think, like, little green men with big eyes and little stick figures. But I don't know. I think that, like you said, that if they were going to be I think they would be more likely to communicate with people on an individual basis rather than to make themselves known on, like, a worldwide scale.
But here's my thing with that, though. How would they differentiate between the individuals? Like, how would they select the individual? How would they even know individuals?
Yeah, they'd have to be able to. If they are
so what you're saying is,
amongst us,
as an outside entity, you'd be able to distinguish who's the. You'd be able to distinguish who's the leader of this planet by itself as an outside entity.
It would depend on their
like,
level of intelligence.
I
for
feel
sure.
like if you can travel across the galaxies and get to this planet from some other solar system, I'm pretty sure you can figure out
Queen
who the leader
Bee.
is.
Well, it took them a while,
or who has a good spirit.
Like I'm sure it took them a while to find someone. Like they just abducted cows and shit and blew them up first. So,
But hey,
I don't know. That seems
dude,
like
aliens have been here. Crop circles, the pyramids.
And who knows, was that
You
that
know?
old comedian who used to say, like, they might think that the dogs are our masters, like we're walking around picking up their shit for them and throwing it away. So who knows? You might be onto something.
well.
Oh, that's a good question. Thanks, Josh.
Thank
was
you,
a good
Josh.
question.
Our next question is from Stephanie in New York City. She writes, if you could spend 10 minutes remotely looking through the eyes of someone that's alive today, like the movie Being in John Malkovich, who would you choose? Interesting.
Wow.
damn. I forgot
Okay.
that dude's name.
But it's just, okay, looking through the eyes of this person. So just to be able to see what they see.
I got mine. I would like to be some sort of athlete during a game, and I would probably say LeBron. I'm serious.
like,
Galactic
see-
champ.
I'm
That's a
serious.
good answer.
Either
That's pretty
LeBron
good.
or maybe like I don't know
Somebody who's the
like
best
Aaron,
at what
like
they
Aaron
do.
Rodgers or Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You know, something because because if you're going sport by sport, I could rule out baseball because baseball's kind of like
Whoa.
but being in the action and like
Adrian Peterson or something.
right. Oh, that would be pretty epic too. Just seeing like how his vision, how he sees things coming, and how he makes his cuts and then just runs guys over when he can't make a cut,
Or Chris Bosh, you can see him attack from the side, all raptor like.
I think it would be pretty sweet to be able to see maybe if there was like a musician, somebody who was in front of like a massive crowd or something to be able to see. I think that you could probably get that experience from like documentaries or some shit, or being just being there.
It's like the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I could just be Glee 3D, like on stage or whatever, and I could just have that feeling of what it feels like to serenade the crowd. I don't know. That's actually a really good question. I have to think about that a little bit because it's like, what do you choose? Because all you're getting is the sight of what they're able to see. So you got to pick somebody that is seeing things that you not have access to.
Yeah.
So maybe like the president, or
I would
well,
choose.
I don't know if the president would be
I'm not
the
sure if
answer.
this is his name. Chris Hadfield, the guy who just came back from space. That space buddy. He was dubbed like the king of space by some country from some other foreign country or something like that.
Canada?
Was it Canada?
Yeah, he was a Canadian.
I thought
Canada
it was
ruling
like
space. I don't know about that.
Bangladesh or some.
So to be able, or someone who's been on a not a skywalk. What do they call it? Moonwalk? Spacewalk. There you go.
Spacewalk.
Yeah,
Moonwalk,
to be
yes.
outside of the to be like outside of his space
The shuttle,
station
yeah.
and like looking at the universe like practically naked. I imagine that would be like
That
a
might be the
ridiculously
best
moving
answer
thing.
because dude. I mean, what other way would you be able to see? Yeah, that's.
But not only that, imagine witnessing that, but still having the presence of mind to be like, all right, fuck all this. I need to fix the space station so everyone here doesn't die. You know what I mean? That's
Well, it's only 10 minutes, so I don't know how much you can get done in that time. I think I would go with like either Bill Gates would be a good one, or I think Richard Branson would be more exciting. Like
Nah.
get like
Branson is ridiculous.
fucking see what all that money does to you.
Like
See what
He
owning
does
your own
10-person
island
orgy.
feels like.
I feel like Richard Branson does more in 10 minutes than we do in our entire
Yeah,
lifetime.
would be interesting. Who knows?
yeah, dude, that
Oh.
guy's a fascinating.
I would be able to keep up.
That's a fascinating dude right there.
Well, thank you for the questions. Remember to send them in at mentalrepspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. Keep them coming. All right, let's start off. What the fuck were they thinking?
The fuck are you doing?
What the fuck?
What the fuck you doing, man? Nigga, what the fuck is with this guy?
I'm truly sorry. It was a mistake on my part, and I sincerely apologize.
This is slowly but surely becoming like one of my favorite things that we talk about. What the fuck were they thinking?
What the fuck is juice?
We're going to start off with this Philadelphia man. He shot up the strip club with an AK-47 for not playing his favorite song.
Oh, the logical choice, of course.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys want to go over like the details of this or whatever first. I guess this 21-year-old dude, this guy, he became angry because the DJ wouldn't play his song. So the bouncers of the club tried to like kick his ass out.
They kicked him out, and he was in the parking lot, and he was drunk as fuck, and he mistakenly found someone else in the parking lot that he thought was the DJ.
He thought it was a bouncer.
He thought it was a bouncer. He took out his AK from his car. Of course, you bring your AK to the strip club.
Naturally.
And he shot the dude in the leg. He got away. He ran back in. Like he fell like 3 times getting back into the strip club.
Yeah, that was.
He just opened the door and like just sprayed in, like trying to hit the DJ, and then ran away. So he's still at large. If you know where this dude is, make sure to call the Philadelphia Crime Stoppers.
I gotta know. Yeah, Philadelphia Crime Stoppers. I gotta know what was the song that he wanted to hear.
I'm in love with a stripper.
Party in the USA.
How good is this fucking song?
The Shot song.
The song that
shots.
I see what you did there.
Oh, dude! Wow! It's clicking. Just got it.
Everybody,
everybody. I don't know how the fuck does these assholes get assault rifles? Well, I mean that's a whole different subject, I guess. But
well, how are you not responsible enough to know that this is a bad idea? Like,
yeah, you know what? The most surprising thing about the article that they kind of slipped in at the end is that he had an accomplice.
Yeah.
So it's like there was another person there with judgment equally as poor as his that was like, yeah, let's shoot up this strip club. Yeah, definitely.
Let's get the AK. How the hell? I mean, I don't know, man. That's a definite issue where these 21-year-old obviously unfit to be wielding a weapon like that. Holy shit. I mean, I hear more and more stories of people with like AR-15s and AK-47s just doing like stupid shit. And I'm like, how the fuck are these people getting assault rifles? No?
It's a reason, man.
Hey, man, they're there. They're out there.
And I'm not like, dude, by no means am I like this crazy Democrat or whatever.
If you have the money, you
can
find it.
I mean, are you asking? Because I know a guy.
Well, no, I mean, but
the thing is, like I could buy one legally. Like go through the process and everything, and then I could just sell it to you.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, so that's how people get it. They're bought legally. You get it, and then you just get enough volume, and then people just start unloading them.
Good grief, man!
Literally.
Yeah, yeah, dude. This guy's just spraying down this DJ booth and like SUVs, like taking off because he didn't hear his favorite song. It's like, wow. Like,
luckily, he didn't. Well, he only hit that one guy. He didn't kill anybody else. So that's the plus side.
Did he kill that one dude?
No, he hit him in like the ass. He like shot him in the lower meaty part.
Last I heard, he was in the hospital and he's recovering. So good luck, dude.
Get shot in the butt, $1 million wound.
Yeah,
you know these assholes up in like Pennsylvania or whatever. They I think they're like TGI Fridays. They were serving rubbing alcohol as scotch.
It was New Jersey.
It was
TGI Fridays and like 13 other restaurants.
Yeah, they put like caramel. They put like caramel coloring in it to make it look.
How do you not drink that and be like, if you're drinking scotch, you're drinking it straight up. All right. So how do you not drink that and just be like, this is gross.
Yeah. The most bitter shit ever. They put bittering agents into the rubbing alcohol, so you don't drink it.
Or it's like whenever you drink it, it's like I'm losing.
Yeah,
dude,
that works. It's for rubbing. Rubbing alcohol is for rubbing, dude. It's not like
and not rubbing one out. That is the terrible idea. Don't ever do that.
Especially if you have a cut.
And they're giving him also this other place. They were serving dishwater, or some shit like that. And it's like. God knows what else they're getting away with, or what that they've done that they didn't get caught for.
That's true.
And it's like
it's quality dining right there.
Sometimes when you go to, there's a few places that when I go to, ignorance is bliss. A restaurant is one of them.
Yes,
I do not want to. Sometimes I just don't want to know.
But it's like that,
I don't want to know.
That movie Waiting spells like out the whole restaurant industry so well, where they're like, don't fuck with people who are handling your food. And maybe it is like that. Those people that were served this rubbing alcohol or dishwater were complete assholes, and I'm not saying that merits the action. I'm just saying people need to know not to fuck around with people who are taking care of your food and be an asshole, like inconsiderate. These people are there to try, like their job is to like serve you and try and like keep you happy, but don't take advantage of that. It's like, ugh, people go about it the whole wrong way. But either way, dude, that's fucking disgusting, man. Serving dishwater and fucking rubbing alcohol at people.
Isn't that
that's
dangerous?
like a serious health.
yeah.
Well, maybe
dangerous.
that's why they did it, because they served you the dishwater before, so then to clean out your system, they gave you the rubbing alcohol.
Well, that's I guess it was like this gigantic year-long investigation they called Operation Swill.
Well, and now hold on a second. It took a year to figure out that they were doing this. I mean, like, so in the meantime, they just let them serve dishwater and rubbing alcohol to people.
Yep. You can't break it until the investigation is complete. You can't tell.
They said more than 100 investigators raided 29 bars and restaurants across New Jersey on the suspicion that they were serving cheap alcohol disguised as premium brands. 13 of these places were TGI Fridays, I guess, and they found out there was a couple that were a lot more disturbing than just selling people cheap brands of alcohol. They're actually giving them like dishwater and rubbing alcohol.
And they're selling it as like top shelf liquor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
nice
man.
palate, guys.
Only in New Jersey.
Way to go, Jersey.
Dude, you gotta be like a drunk asshole to be drinking some rubbing alcohol and be like, give me another.
Well, look at New Jersey's poster children, you know? What do you expect?
Wow. Then kind of off subject. Well, not really. But I have a buddy who will remain nameless who surprised me with this gigantic like jar of moonshine, like the legit moonshine. Have you ever tried it?
No.
I would never.
Don't want
try
to.
It
moonshine.
is. Dude, I've had the real deal once before. I used to live up in North Carolina, you know, in the sticks up there, and there were some people who made that shit. And I hadn't tried it in so long, and I've had people try and tell me shit's moonshine. And I taste it, and I can tell it's not. This was the real deal moonshine, bro. It's like I took like a thimbleful, like a sip, and I felt that shit. Like I felt like I just had like 2 shots. It is so strong.
Don't smoke after you drink it.
Yeah, light your throat on fire.
Really?
I don't know, but
Really?
but
Awesome.
dude, man, what is it like?
I'm a dragon. I'm a
95% or something.
It's
got to be over 90%.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous, like 96% or something like
Yeah.
that. Anyway, yeah,
Man,
man. That's
how
hard not to
drunk
prove.
and how quickly does one need to get drunk? How badly and how quickly
Yeah,
does one
right?
need to get drunk?
Shit-faced country drunk.
yeah, man. Well, you got nothing to
That
do.
is the correct answer right there.
That's something you cut. You know, like you make it that strong, and then you're like, all right, now I'm gonna pour like a pitcher of water into this shot
Into a
glass.
Now I'm going to lose 4 hours.
Dude, it's funny though. It's like their culture or something. The old grandpappies, and they pass it down to their kids or whatever. That drinking moonshine is like what it's all about.
Be careful that, like you said a few podcasts ago, don't tell a story because they might make a TV show about it.
Yeah.
History Channel already did Moonshine.
Fucking shit.
That's right. That's right.
I hate the History Channel so much.
I know.
Like, what happened to you
I
guys?
have no idea. I used to
It's
watch
nothing
that
but pawn
so-
shop.
Oh man, in like 2000, that's all I watched, like Modern Marvels and like all those shows, and now it's just
History Channel
reality
2,
TV.
I think, is like the new History Channel.
Well,
yeah, but they just put all their old
Yeah,
stuff
but
on
yeah,
there,
that's
just
exactly-
syndicated. You know, they don't have anything like hardly new on there.
It's literally, it's all like Pawn Shop. What was it? Pawn Shop Wars or Pawn
Pawn Stars.
Stars or whatever.
Cajun Pawn Star Truckers.
It's like, how the hell is that history? Yeah, they
That
might
sounds
be
awesome.
selling
I like that.
an old piece of history or something, like a piece of art or
Well,
like a
the way they get by is that they put a little like nugget of info like
Yeah,
right before the
here or
commercial
there.
break or something. It's like,
Yeah.
and Edison liked to
that's right.
polish
They
his
do have
balls
those.
and fucking 5 times a day. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever, man. I don't know. That's really disappointing. Obviously, they're following with the trends, and that sucks. That if there's any channel that should be specific, the Science Channel is like one of my favorite channels now. They've got like I think they're the ones that got like Brain Games with Jason Silva, which is an awesome show, and a bunch of other stuff like Through the Wormhole with Morgan Freeman and all that shit. It's really, really cool stuff.
The Science Channel was like the Discovery Channel was 10 years ago too. Now the Discovery Channel's gone off the deep end too.
And don't even get me started on TLC, the Learning Channel, which is showing nothing but, what is it? The
16
the
and
little
pregnant.
dwarf family and like the mom who has like 12 kids or whatever. Just a bunch of stupid bullshit. It's like, how is this a learning channel?
It's
this
bread and circus. It's a distraction. You know, like keep people occupied so they
Whatever.
can't think. Yeah, fuck television, man.
Crazy parents. This kid, you heard about this kid? He faked his own kidnapping to avoid telling his parents about his like failing grades.
Yeah, man.
Like, how fucking scared do you have
This,
to be of your parents to do some shit like that?
This kid, Aftib Aslam, he was 19 years old. Well, is 19 years old. Was going to Georgia Gwinnett College. On April 27th, he bought a prepaid phone. Texted his parents that he had been kidnapped, and now he's like, he can't really talk to them because the kidnapper may find his phone and all this stuff. So he actually ended up camping at a park nearby, and the weather got too cold and too like
Rainy,
severe that he finally had to break it and tell his family. He went home to his parents was just like defeated and was like, "Yeah, I'm failing."
What a chump!
Well, I'm interested in knowing like,
and then the law was like, "We're gonna rape you now."
But the parents turned him in, or did he turn himself in, or what?
He turned himself in, and well, what happened was his parents.
Yeah,
he called he texted his parents, so his parents filed the report.
Yes.
So now he's in trouble for making a false report, false statements, and tampering with evidence and terroristic threats.
What?
That's what I don't
terroristic
understand.
threats.
It's like,
I wonder why they slapped that on there.
Because
Mr.
the verbiage is so loose that anyone can be a terrorist. A baby can be a
Just
terrorist.
to justify keeping him detained with no bail. He's got no bail. He's still chilling in there.
So if that happened and a guy named John Williams got kidnapped, do you think he would have been charged with terroristic threats?
Probably not.
No.
Well, I mean, either of those parents, just to wrap my head around this whole situation, they're putting so much pressure on this kid about failing, or they're like abusive or something, that he was genuinely scared, or he's mental, like in some sort of way. He's like, I don't understand how you. And plus, I get like the tampering.
I think that he's just a coward. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that he didn't want to go to school. He knows his parents is paying for his college, and they're not going to accept the fact that he's not going to school. So he was just made up some stupid ass excuse that he was kidnapped, and then once they did the report, that was a wrap. Once his parents turned that report in, it was beyond his control at that point. And then he wanted to camp out for like 4 days later.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he just wanted to go camping.
I mean, but
And
he's not.
Mom and
It's
Dad
not like
won't
he's
let me.
14 or something. I mean, he's 18. He's got to be able to know. He's just a straight up coward, like you said, or
Piss
like,
poor decisions, man.
What a chump.
Piss poor decisions.
Damn, man, that's
I mean, that's my guess anyway.
But yeah, that's the thing though, is it's like there's a lot. I think there might be more of the story in the terrorist threats, like against who, like himself.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand, or is it like it just seems like a bullshit excuse that they just tacked on just to justify keeping him detained on no bail? And
I don't know.
It's because his name was so strange, Aftab Aslam. You know,
yeah. He's got the whole alliteration thing going on.
His
They don't
name
like
is
that.
one letter away from Islam. He has to be a terrorist.
his mother's name is Alt Tab, and his father's name is Control Alt Delete.
nicely done.
That's fucked up, Jeff.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I'm
Just
pretty
'cause
fucked
they're-
up. Yeah.
Just because they're Indian doesn't mean they have computer-related names.
Shit. Well, man, going from like one kind of crazy story to another. You guys heard about this arbitrator? He upholds this this Miami Beach cop. I guess he drank before he went to work, and I guess he admitted that he like took shots of cranberry and vodka before heading in. He skipped roll calls so no one would notice that he was drunk. Then he spent over an hour and a half outside just like relaxing. This is all shit that he like admitted in his testimony or
Just
whatever.
hanging out.
And he was photographed with his other buddy at this bachelorette party at the Clevelander Hotel, which this is just like so Miami. It's hilarious.
It's South Beach. Like, what do you expect?
But,
like that whole party culture. Like,
he was I guess he was trying to say that, you know, they're trying to peel it at first or whatever. Then he had this his other buddy that was in this photo with him, and they're saying that they were improperly tested for the alcohol, blah blah blah, and but what they're saying is that they encourage this like culture of drunk officers on the job. Like, I guess some of their bosses, they just wouldn't care, and they kind of did their thing. And now they're saying, oh, okay, now like we're busted, and they're gonna make a big deal out of it. But these guys, what's hilarious is that his buddy was fired for running two people over on the beach on this ATV on the sand, and like and he had a bachelorette like a fucking bridesmaid on the back with him, and
crunk as fuck, running
he
over
ran
people
these
on the beach.
over. He had like, I guess, a .0 .088, which is I guess the point
Just-
down here is
just over.
.80, but that was 5
.08.
hours after
Ridiculous.
the incident. So
He
that
must have
guy
been
had to be
fucking tanked.
slammed when
So,
he did that.
so unless this is his 7th offense, Florida has the 7 strikes and you're out rule or something.
God.
Yeah, man, but it's funny.
So
it's
what's
like,
the problem? Said he was just trying to have a good
Yeah,
time.
man. He's just
Got
trying
a little
to.
bit of
well,
sauce.
this-
Got,
it's-
got some girls on the ATV. We go to the beach. Let's have a party. What's going on?
But that's the funny thing is like this culture down here with the cops, and it's not like a slam on all cops or even all South Florida cops. There's some awesome, po9s out there. It's just they're kicking ass and taking names, but it's just one of those things that most likely wouldn't have happened in a culture that didn't think that it was like okay. There's a lot of like dudes out there thinking they're invincible and taking advantage
Yeah,
of
they,
that
they just
fact.
party too much, and
And-
they're policing an area that everyone's partying down. They just
Yeah.
got to protect and serve that ass.
That don't mean a
You know,
goddamn thing. You signed up to be a police officer, so you have some motherfucking discipline and do your goddamn job. Don't
Right?
make up stupid ass
Yeah.
excuses about, oh, it's a culture. I needed to get drunk to fit in.
It's like that great
Fuck
quote
out of here. Accept
about how
responsibility for your shitty ass actions
what
and
was
decisions.
that quote and who said the quote about how you can only test a man's true character by giving them power? I
one.
think it was
I
like
like that.
Abraham or Lincoln or something like that. But yeah, there's just something extra slimy about that like hypocrisy. And their job is to enforce the law, but at the same time they're breaking it.
Like judges,
so it's
too.
just a complete conflict of integrity, and these guys feel like entitled because they buy into this like it's us versus them mentality and justify scheming a little bit off the top to make ends meet or whatever because they don't make a lot of money. But I don't have a problem with a whole. I just it's the driving drunk and driving over people with the ATVs, and these motherfuckers are tripping like they think that there's going to be no consequences, and they're taking advantage of that. And we talk about this all the time about people like what's that one dude who hopped in the cop car with that dude, and 15 minutes later the cop was trying to rob him and beating the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Or
geez, you hate to hear that.
Getting a blowjob while you're on the job.
And this is like, there's so many good cops out there. There really is. This by no means like, oh, fuck cops or anything. It's just, damn, it's like extra slimy when you hear shit like that.
Could you imagine just laying on the beach trying to get a tan, and the next thing you know, you're just getting run over by an ATV?
Just
Yeah.
trying to relax.
If that happened to me, I'd be pretty surprised.
Yeah, you're like face down and like, oh, my back feels great right now, and then someone's just rolling over your
drunk
nuts.
ass cop, and he runs over you and then takes off.
And
And,
then just
when
say,
you try
"My
and call
bad."
him on it, he's covering it up and shit. You're
oh,
like,
I'm
what?
sorry. It's the culture.
Oh, well, what happens is when you get run over and you're like in pain and you look up and you see what actually happened to you, and you just see the bride looking at you because she's on the back of the ATV, and you're like, what just happened?
Like you turn to see the cop and he's like popping a wheelie on the ATV as like the Bachelorette is like her hair is like flowing in the breeze.
It's like a Mariah Carey Miguel video or some shit.
Fuck South Beach, man. Hate that place.
Yeah, dude, it's not like all bad. It's just like
Living in
you
the
got
past, South
assholes.
Beach.
Yeah, cocaine
Bring that shit to the
cowboys.
future.
Well, this dude, speaking of cocaine cowboys, you heard another one, dude. This judge was caught with cocaine and a firearm. Somebody tell me more about it. I don't know.
So
He's got to uphold the swag in the courtroom.
yeah,
Man.
man. So a probation officer was sold cocaine to 2 judges regularly, and actually sold too much to one of them, and one of the judges died.
Oh shit!
So, but the one judge who got caught, he got arrested with cocaine and a firearm, which he legally owned, but you can't have both at the same time.
Yes,
Surprise,
that,
surprise.
that kind of makes sense. I'm not going to argue with that.
So yeah, he got popped.
Wow.
And
The article said that they went to a cabin in the woods to do cocaine. And,
Yes.
and the one guy overdosed, and he killed him.
What's great is the one thing. This is literally I wasn't able to look at this much, but the one thing that I picked up from it was apparently this dude was wearing the clothes in which he was arrested Wednesday night, which I guess was the night before, and Cook attended the hearing in cut-off jeans and a blue T-shirt with the words "Bad is my middle name."
yes,
Wow.
Yeah, so
Like, what?
two
Between-
guys go to one cabin in the woods with some cocaine.
And one of them's got a blue T-shirt with
I
some
think-
cut-off
cut-off
nut
jeans.
huggers.
I think
Some Daisy Dukes.
I think one of the I think the kicker to this is though he was given a misdemeanor for possession of heroin.
What?
How do you get a misdemeanor for possession of
Yeah,
heroin?
how does that work?
Magic. Judge magic. That's what that is.
His buddy was a judge or
In
something.
a cocaine cabin. It's mad.
Can you imagine?
Hey,
like,
what happened
being,
to the evidence?
Can you imagine like this guy is probably
We
like
smoked it.
got this judge who's his buddy, and the buddy's like, "What the fuck are you thinking, dude? You realize I have to deal with this shit now? And if I give you like lax treatment or whatever, and if I give you a break, then I'm gonna be the asshole."
Nah, dude. Think about it like this. Imagine going to the cabin in the woods with your gay lover and having him overdose, and then having to explain that to everybody else, bro.
When you're wearing a T-shirt that says
Exactly.
"Bad is my middle name."
I think the drug possession was the lesser of two evils for that.
He's like, how do I explain this to everyone?
This guy looks a little suspicious.
What's my wife gonna think? Fuck.
Oh,
That is awesome.
dude. Fantastic.
Yeah. Speaking of drugs, our next story here, we have a real life Walter White. A tutor at a middle school was busted for receiving a package at the school containing 480 grams of crystal meth.
Damn.
Dude, hold on. 40. Okay, so was it 28 grams or in a pound? So this guy had like a little less than 2 pounds of crystal meth delivered to him at his freaking work of all in a middle school.
That's pretty discreet.
And I mean, I can understand where you think he might have been thinking, oh, they're like, if nobody found out, then it would be perfect. Like, why would I have this delivered to my school? Like,
He's hiding in plain sight, man.
Wow.
He's battling stage 3 cancer, and apparently he's trafficking drugs. So he was arrested, and they went back to his house, and they found more fucking drugs and $10,000 in.
Yeah, he had
Cash.
just over a pound of.
Hold on,
meth. Yeah, because
480.
456 grams is in a pound.
Oh, what am I? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so just over a pound. Like that's
a lot.
Breaking Bad was
good.
not an instruction manual, folks.
Jeez. Yeah,
There's
man.
ways to get around this.
I would like this. This dude probably has like hospital bills up the ass. I wonder if he has like a family, or I don't know. Does it say in the article, or like what his motivation would be? Like
I don't know. Did he order this on Amazon?
I would like to
Just came in
sit
the mail?
this guy down and actually like honestly ask him if he's ever watched Breaking Bad, and like just to see what he says. Like give me an honest answer and see if he like. It's like, yeah, man, that's kind of where I got the idea. Or if he tried to play it off like it had nothing to do with it, I don't buy it.
Trying to afford breakfast for my son.
And he's bald.
Eats so damn
well,
much.
I mean, it's like, the similar. Yeah, he's going through chemo, so the poor guy, he's bald and he's going through all this shit. But
Well, he's
it
dumb.
really is Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
man.
Like to the T.
That's dumb, man. You don't get fucking meth delivered to your school that you work at. I
Bad
mean, I don't know.
decisions lead to
Desperate
last
times.
decisions.
Yeah, desperate times call for desperate measures.
And with bad decisions, I believe that leads us into our next segment, the
Aw,
champions of
yeah.
evolution.
When a
love
person
the champ.
defies common sense far past the point of all reason or logic to become forged in a crucible of ignorance, they emerge as a champion of evolution.
This one I fucking love. I did this story at work, and this Florida teen accidentally shoots off his junk, and he gets arrested. This dude, he shot himself in the penis and testicle
Ugh.
while cleaning a gun he just bought. Which,
Holy shit.
why are you cleaning a gun when you got
That's loaded?
a loaded
Yeah,
chamber?
the first thing you do when you clean a gun is clear the chamber.
So obviously this little jit didn't know what the fuck he was doing. I guess what's funny is first he lied to the police saying that someone shot him when he
How
was
old was
walking
he?
down the street. 18.
Look at this kid.
man.
Look at this kid.
Yeah.
He deserves to have his dick shot off.
Yeah, you guys
Nobody
gotta look
deserves to have their dick shot off, bro.
He shot off his penis and one testicle.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad.
And
I'm glad this guy's not procreating. He almost looks like
jeez.
he almost looks like a Down syndrome Mike Miller.
Dude, yes, like you said, he had it went through his penis and testicle and then lodged itself into his thigh. And what he told police, I guess, that he bought it at a party last
Wow.
month or something like that. When they're investigating the home where
The
it
story,
happened,
it just keeps getting weirder.
they discovered his buddy at the house had marijuana at the house, which led to the arrest of that dude.
Wow. So he he bought a gun at a party. He was trying to clean it, and he shot his nuts off, and then got arrested.
His dick.
And then
balls.
retroactively, out of no connection to the other guy, got somebody else arrested for weed.
And that guy was just sitting there at
Oh,
home,
man.
probably smoking like, I cannot believe this fucking asshole
Bad luck, Brian.
shot off his dick and his balls, and he's just sitting there smoking a joint, just like, I can't believe this shit.
And then insult to injury, he then gets arrested for shooting off his own dick.
Dude, man, this is like Florida is just the United States like garbage. Like it's like the trash can. Like all the crap just comes to Florida.
It just trickles down to the tip of Florida like an STD.
It's interesting. Also, where like yes, that's so true. But then you have like the other side of the train tracks where there's a lot of like super like not that wealthy mean equals good people. But it's interesting. There's just this amazing kind of mix of people down here, but we have so many assholes. Like it's in Central Florida, South Florida, all the way up to North Florida. It's like different brands. It's like different brands of assholes.
We really should be two states, like South Florida and North Florida.
Yeah,
they're
I
so
agree.
like diametrically opposed in terms of like view and like.
You know, I'm surprised that there hasn't been more. I did a story about that like almost a year and a half ago or so, where they were trying to get from like Orlando down. They wanted to separate it from North, because if you think about it, Tallahassee is just raking in all the tax money that South Florida and Orlando with all the Disney parks and all that shit. They're just raking it in up there. So they're like, fuck this. What are you guys doing up there in Tallahassee? Like,
Right.
why are you guys? I mean, so they were trying to actually separate the state for a while, but they never.
If we're gonna start there, then the United States needs to be divided in like 5 different countries.
Yeah.
Realistically,
yeah,
you know.
true. Well,
Does the dirty South get its own country?
Yes.
Excellent.
those fucking fish
The
eyes
dirty,
wouldn't
dirty.
last in the dirty South. Well, yeah, that's our champion of evolution. I think that's a pretty fucking solid
Kudos,
submission
dude.
there.
Good luck with the surgery.
Good on you, buddy. And
We can rebuild him.
super pumped
We
you're
have
not
the
making any
technology.
kids. So super pumped about that. And I guess that moves us on to Hater Hall of Fame. What's up,
Oh,
Rico?
damn. Everybody hates something, but sometimes the hate is so strong it follows no rhyme or reason, and you just have to trick autistic children into buying drugs. It's time to induct another into the Hater Hall of Fame.
Jeff, take this one, dude.
Hate. Well, holy shit. So there was a drug sting operation in a high school, and apparently an undercover cop befriended a kid with autism, and he was like a little slow. He had like Asperger's and stuff, and he convinced him to go get drugs for him. So he tried to tried to trick him into buying prescription drugs, but he couldn't find him, and he ended up getting a fucking joint from a hobo, and he brought it back to him for $20.
Oh, this poor kid.
He did it twice. He got the hobo joints, and then they arrested him.
Hobo joints.
Yes.
What's
very
fucked
strange.
up is like this cop. He was hounding this kid to
Yes.
sell him his
That's
prescription. pills.
that's what I think was like the absolute bullshit about
So
this entire
he couldn't get him to. He's like, I need my shit. Probably like these are my pills. I'm not gonna sell you my pills. And when he refused, he said, all right, I'm gonna give you $20. He gives him $20 and says, go buy him weed. Probably says, doesn't matter what, how much, what amount, whatever. As long as that kid brought him back a half of a joint or something, he would be able to make that arrest. So now.
It's horrible because the kid didn't really have many friends, and his parents were saying like, oh, he made a friend. This Daniel kid is like texting him all the time, like, oh, that's good. Like, finally, like our son's like
exactly.
the
becoming
amount
more
of
socially
evil.
acceptable, and
For
they
real.
they fucking entrapped this kid into like buying drugs that he had no interest in whatsoever.
Exactly, but it's not like the kid was a bad kid. He didn't even know where to find that shit.
Yeah, and again,
Hate.
like
At
Pure
first,
hate.
initially.
entrapping these high school kids, pardon me, it's fucked up, dude. We see that like these cops were talking about the seducing like these 18-year-old kids
Yeah,
and making
I read
them
that
fall
other
in love with
article.
them and befriending lonely kids and then tricking them into buying them drugs and shit. It's like we often hear about we need to fight like the drug war to protect kids, and these fucking assholes. More often, the drug war is ruining these kids' lives and doing more harm than good. And you have these assholes who are trying to justify making their quotas or whatever bullshit that they don't admit to. They say, oh, we don't have quotas, which is complete bullshit. They all got quotas. So now it's in order to justify having a bigger budget. All these, police office departments or whatever, they don't want to say, okay, we don't need this because that means a smaller budget. Then you have to lay people off. And I understand wanting to keep people employed, especially people who have been working there for a long time. But you have to find other things that you can police. This is out of control. You cannot be doing this to kids, innocent kids,
and
trapping them.
It seems like there's a direct like pipeline from school to prisons. Like they're trying to force like the delinquent children and stuff to step so far out of line that they can just lock them up.
Yeah,
and just have fodder for these for-profit prisons.
And skipping the entire like parenting and rehabilitation stage, just going straight from to either pills or prison. It's like those are your options.
It's absurd, and they're making money off of all that stuff.
That leads us nicely into this next one, where this Pennsylvania judge was sentenced for 28 years for selling kids to the prison system.
Yeah,
again, his,
what a scumbag!
Kids for Cash program. I guess all this corruption in the prison system.
Kids for Cash,
mostly again driven by the growth in private prisons.
Yep,
seeking profits by any means necessary. So, go. You want to tell them about this, Jeff?
That's the poison-bladed side of capitalism.
I guess this guy, Mark Chiavarella Jr., this 61-year-old former judge in Pennsylvania, he was sentenced to nearly 30 years for trying to sell these kids, or not trying, but literally selling these kids to jails for cash. He's convicted of accepting money in exchange for incarcerating adults and kids.
Thousands of kids.
Thousands. And owned by a developer who was paying him under the table, and the kickbacks amounted to, I guess, like a little over $1 million.
Yeah. I'm not sure if this is the same guy, but I remember a few years back another judge got into trouble for this. And basically the only reason why it came to light is because the guy who I think it was like another marijuana possession charge. He was like like an all-American, great athlete, like straight A student type thing, and he got charged with a possession. And this drug, because he was getting kickbacks to send people to that specific prison, he gave him the max possible sentence. The kids, this kid's teachers, his peers, his counselors, they all wrote trying to petition to the judge, like, no, he's a good kid, like, don't do this. And the kid was so freaked out about it, he ended up hanging himself in the prison. And like that's how it came to light. They were like, they went into investigating, like, how come this kid who's such a good standing and had all these people vouch for him, how did he get such a stringent sentence? And then they find out it's because these judges are getting money to send people to specific prisons, and they're like boosting up their sentence just to facilitate that.
It makes me sick, man. Again, there's so many awesome people in this world trying to do positive things and help people out, and then you got these cunts who just got to come in and try and ruin it for everybody. And they throw, a wrench into the whole system. And it's so sad. I mean, you hear these, stories all the time about people getting sold into, young women getting sold into prostitution, all sorts of things. It's just, you hate to hear that shit. So I'm glad that this guy's getting put away. I hope that he's got he's 61, 28 years. He'd be 89 by the time that he got out. I hope that he doesn't get out any earlier than that. I hope the motherfucker dies in prison.
So I hope they take all
of
his
natural
money.
Causes, painfully. All right, well, you know what? Again, let's stop talking about the assholes for a little bit, and let's talk about something uplifting, something awesome, maybe even the badass motherfucker of the week. 91-year-old Christopher Lee. Jeffrey, tell us about this dude.
You may know him as Saruman from Lord of the Rings fame.
Count Dooku.
Or Count Dooku from the Star Wars.
Yeah.
He's 91 years old, and he's next week releasing a new heavy metal album where he sings over it as the voice of Charlemagne.
That is so badass. Dude, we missed out, and we could have talked to Jesse about this last week. This would have been right up his alley.
Yeah, man, apparently he has a band that does this sort of stuff regularly, because I remember last year he put out a Christmas album.
That's
last
right.
year Christmas, he put out this metal Christmas album where he's singing the carols in
What
metal format.
the
dude,
hell?
I mean, thinking about what this 91-year-old dude is still doing, I mean, how awesome is that? Like, that is just like fucking inspiring to me, dude. See this guy 91 years old, and he's out there doing fucking like metal albums in the Charlemagne voice.
Yeah,
That's
man.
so badass.
It's impressive that he's not drooling on himself, let alone like singing like these lyrics.
Yeah, and I guess 10 tracks arranged by Judas Priest guitarist Richie Faulkner.
What?
It's legit metal, man.
It's
What?
fucking legit, dude.
That's pretty sweet.
If you want to see him on tour, all of his
He's
showtime,
going on tour?
No, all of his showtimes, they start at like
Oh,
brunch, like 11 o'clock.
Early bird concert. Yeah.
That's
Can we pull this video up? I'm gonna try to get.
Yes, I wanted to hear if we
the
can
10 o'clock
pull up the
special.
Charlemagne or whatever.
Can't Charlemagne.
I'll play the first like couple seconds of this.
Yeah, dude, I want to hear it because I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, I got it.
He was also in one of the GoldenEye movies. I don't remember which one. He was Scaramanga.
All right.
Let me hear that
Let's
shit.
hear this shit.
It all ended in death and destruction. These were omens. The omens of death.
So epic.
I want to hear it.
I want to hear like a death.
Yeah, I want to hear like a chorus.
What?
Oh, I love it already.
Yeah, they got some legitimate guitars.
Dude, I gotta hear this guy sing like over the verse or something. I gotta hear this.
Oh, that's all there is?
There's a like a whole preview thing where he's like talking and then they clip into.
If
Oh,
you
okay,
can,
okay, it's not
just
an
if you
actual
can,
video.
see if you can. Oh, they don't have the actual song on there.
It's
the
just
rest
little
of
snippets. Let me
okay.
try to fast forward
Way
here.
to go, YouTube. You failed us again.
it. But yeah, man,
Here's another clip.
Okay.
It's the second song. Like super impressive that this guy is still like doing stuff.
That's what I want to hear. Yeah.
A sacred place of ours. Long to fear the name of Charlemagne.
This is hilarious.
One that will be without peer. Even long
Got that double bass going too.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. My neck hurts.
Yeah, that
Epic,
shit has
epic.
legit production value. So.
Yeah, man, that doesn't sound like shitty quality at all. Good for that dude. Yeah, he's got Judas Priest buddy behind him, so I'm sure they're not fucking around. That's awesome, man. And that's something that we said last week that we're gonna maybe bring up if we got the badass motherfucker of the week. That last kid, that 5-year-old kid who wanted to be called Batman.
I'm Batman.
He's the one who inspired it. So again, good on you, kid, too. Well, we're gonna move on to like just some stuff in the news. It's so sad again, man. These poor people in Oklahoma.
Bunch of shitty news this week.
Yeah, like it sucks, man. There's a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, this storm. I guess it started on Sunday and went through Monday and part of Tuesday. I guess that killed 24 people, damaged over 12,000 houses, and they said that these motherfuckers were an F5. Like, remember on Twister? Finger of God.
Yeah.
Like, that's what these motherfuckers were dealing with. These poor people are dealing with the finger of God.
My wind chimes.
Yeah, man. What's cool is I saw, like, Nike, Kevin Durant, the Oklahoma City Thunder, Chesapeake Energy, and Carrie Underwood all donated $1 million each. And if you guys want to donate, you can text Red Cross to 90999 to give $10, or donate online by calling 1-800-RED-CROSS. Plus, there's a lot of different organizations. I don't know. A lot of people have their own reasons for they want to choose like different, charities or whatever to get to make sure that the money's going to the right place. They've got a lot of different ones that you could check out, but again, our hearts go out to these people, man, who are dealing with this shit. I saw some incredible footage. When you see just the destruction that these fucking things, it's literally like the sky just decides to like fuck some shit up and like gets down the wind. I mean, they're going up to like 300 miles per hour and some of like the like inside the vortex or whatever. It's just incredible the destruction that these natural like events can do.
I read somewhere that that shit was like a mile long. Was that true, or was that just sensational?
No, that was very true. I talked about this. I lived in Oklahoma, and in '99 I went through the tornado that was on It was actually worse than this because
I was just going to ask you this question.
Yeah, well, this tornado was on the ground for only 40 minutes. The one in '99 that took almost the exact same path, almost started in the exact same place, almost took the identical path to this. That tornado was on the ground for over 5.5 hours.
Damn.
And it spawned like 30 other tornadoes, went through like 3 different states. Like that was the epitome of like the worst tornado in like history. I mean, you hear about the what was that town in Missouri? Joplin, Missouri. Like that whole town got leveled. Yeah, the whole town got leveled. But then beyond that, it wasn't that big of a deal. You know, like the tornado stopped. You know, and it was kind of like this. Like this went through more. And I only lived a few miles from this, so the tornado passed from my old house just within 3-4 miles of my old house. And but yeah, I mean, my friend still lives there, and when I saw the reports of the tornado, at first they said like Norman, Moore, and Oklahoma City. So it's kind of like when you get on the south side of Oklahoma City, there's between Norman, which is where the University of Oklahoma is, and Oklahoma City, it's kind of like one big suburb in there, and it's merged even more over the years. And so Moore is that suburb that bridges between it. And so when the reports came out and they said Norman, Moore, and Oklahoma City, I was like, oh my gosh. So I instantly started calling people. I couldn't get a hold of them because the networks were down, and it was messed up. So then I went to the news, and then when I got to the news, I could actually see like landmarks of where they were filming and stuff, and I was like, okay, that's definitely Moore. That's not, Norman. And but it's I don't know anyone who was killed by it. Do know some people who were affected by it. But my buddy, he's been volunteering on he's been off since he worked Sunday. Or no, it happened Monday. So he worked Monday. It took him 5 hours to get home, which should take 30 minutes. And so that night he was like, I got the next 3 days off. Like, I need to do something. So got some food, went and started volunteering, and he's been volunteering up until yesterday.
Wow.
And but
good on you, dude.
This picture right here is taken from my sister's best friend. And this is when the tornado formed. This is right when it formed. Okay,
you got to put that on the enhanced podcast.
So this is right when it formed, maybe just a few minutes after, and this is taken from her house.
It looks like perfect.
Yeah,
like just like
the perfect storm.
So this was in Newcastle, which is right next to Moore. It's just west of it. So this travel
also a delicious beer. I don't know if you've ever had Newcastle.
So the tornado was traveling kind of like a northeast path. This is when it was in Moore.
That's huge.
Wow.
So
did they find out how large it was at the base? Like how big?
At the base, I'm not sure, but like up towards the top, it was a mile wide.
God.
But this wind swath, you got to figure that's at least a half mile right there.
Yeah,
dude. And if you anyone, I'm sure everyone's seen the pictures of it. Like anything that's in this path is just it's gone.
Yes.
It's leveled. I mean, it leveled an entire elementary school.
There's people that were like hiding in bank vaults and pictures of that online.
That's all you can do, man.
Some guy's PlayStation survived. That was pretty cool.
Go through, I've never experienced a tornado, but until you go through like a natural disaster like that, and you see the destruction and the aftermath, it's hard to understand like and fully grasp the magnitude. I mean that this thing is literally coming through and just shredding houses, businesses, and just shitting it out. It's like eating it up and shitting it out, and it's unreal. There's different stories. Sorry, real quick.
No, go ahead.
It was a story. I'm pretty sure that it was like from this last week, where they said that this woman was trying to hide in her bathtub, which they say is like the best place. Which now they're starting to say, you need to just get underground. But
all the bathtubs are fiberglass now. It's like they used to be true.
She went into her bathtub. Her infant.
It was ripped from her arms.
Oh, no.
And I can only imagine her terror as her infant is ripped from her arm. Maybe she like got toast and the baby just went flying. She dies in the wreckage, and the infant survives and is about a quarter mile away in a tree.
What?
Yep.
Crying, like alive. And just the possibility and the percentage of that working out. I mean, that is so amazing to me.
Yeah, that story happened in '99, the '99 tornado, and
well, thanks for correcting me.
No, it happened. It just because they're bringing that up because these tornadoes, because you had the '99 tornado, the '03 tornado, and then this one. So, but yeah, that story happened in '99. She died. House was obliterated. The baby was thrown over a quarter mile away, stuck in a tree, and it had been a few days after, and a police officer was doing a patrol through a neighborhood to see if anyone, like they would constantly do patrols after the storms and stuff. And he had his windows down, heard a noise, stopped his car, got out, and he thought he heard a baby crying, so he looked up in the tree. The baby was up in the tree.
Wow.
So he climbed up there, got the baby. There's a picture online. I'll put it in the link dump. That picture is like, it's just like heart-wrenching because this baby is completely covered in dirt. And and he's holding it, and like he looks like he's about to just like break down and cry too, and it's
yeah, man.
How old is that kid now? That was in
If
'99.
that happened in 99, so I'm guessing 13, 14 now.
Wow.
Somewhere around there.
Jeez.
Maybe 14. It was like an infant. Maybe 6 months, 5-6 months old.
Unreal, man.
So
Infant of Steel.
Yeah, I mean, crazy. But yeah,
He's gonna have some weird like tornado powers.
This is the day after the tornado, and this is one of the churches nearby, and this is just like one of their staging areas where they had donations coming in. So I think this was one of, I believe, 5 or 6 major staging areas, and so this is my friend, and he's pulling up to the church to donate, and these are just all the cars waiting to figure out what they can do to either donate something or to come and help.
Wow.
And and I remember when the 99 tornado happened, it was really unreal how everyone banded together. And when he sent me the pictures of everyone helping this time around, it just gave me that boost of like, man actually has hope.
Faith in humanity restored.
Because that's the thing, like whenever crisis happens, everyone thinks like the world is just going to go chaos and like people are going to, I tend to think that people will actually band together.
We talked about with the Boston bombings thing. Yeah.
And work for the greater good. Sure, you'll have your people in between who are going to do their own thing and whatever, but I really think in situations of like dire crisis situations, like people actually come together. Yeah, and so he loaded up his truck and he just went and he drove all through the neighborhoods, the suburbs that got messed up, and just started asking people if he had if they needed water or snacks or whatever, food and stuff.
You guys need some gummy bears?
Yeah.
Need some snacks?
So it was it's really terrible. I have a video that I can just let roll in the background. But it was really hearing the, you see on the news like all the destruction and death and everything, but you don't hear about enough of the good stuff. And that's something I think...
It's not what generates headlines.
Exactly. Unfortunately. That ridiculous. Should generate the headlines.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, hearing like all the stories and everyone helping out and everything, it was just like really, to me, it really hit home because I had lived there half my life. And so I don't know, it was really...
Well, good on you,
really
people
awesome.
of Oklahoma.
Yeah, man.
If you can, please donate to the Red Cross and get your support over there.
Yeah,
I mean, especially if you can donate your time. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you live a world away, you can't really donate your time, but you can donate some pocket change.
Absolutely, every little bit helps, and I think that Red Cross is known for doing really right by the people and by the by whatever the situation may be, by making sure they put all the money, or at least close to it, all the money towards the actual
relief efforts.
Yeah, so good on you guys and keep it up. Man, another kind of crazy story from this week. This teen was locked up without bail, facing terrorism charges and 20 years in prison for a Facebook post. And after you kind of read this, you'll think twice about what you put on Facebook.
It's unreal, and it's a clear violation of the First Amendment. Granted, he's not the best rapper in the world.
Well,
he's actually a fucking terrible rapper.
Well.
The stuff that he said was taken so hardly, or it was so hard out of context. They locked him up, and they don't want him to have bail or anything. I could see this becoming like a landmark case for like civil rights in terms of the First Amendment. It's a huge crackdown. So let me read a little bit of what this guy had posted and what they took out of it. Let me try to find this.
Yeah, and like he said, I mean, this is a First Amendment issue. The guys said some stupid shit.
So I mean, it was poorly worded, and it was not in good taste. But I mean, it was like shitty criticisms here. So
and they took it out of context.
Absolutely. He put on his Facebook. He posted, "All you haters, keep my fucking name out your mouths. Got it? What the fuck do I got to do to get some props and shit? Y'all want me to fucking kill somebody? What the fuck do these fucking demons want from me?" I'm just paraphrasing here. Then he goes down and says, "Don't fucking cry or be worried because all you people fucking caused this shit. Fuck a Boston bombing. Wait till you see the shit I do. I'm gonna be famous for rapping and beat every murder charge that comes across me." So he posted that shit. It's very poorly worded. It was terrible lyrics. Apparently that was his...
Biggie Smalls blowing up like the World Trade.
Right. So they reported on this, and they took it out of context. They printed, "Fuck a Boston bombing. Wait till you see the shit I do. I'm going to be famous."
The other line is not
Yeah.
relevant. The line immediately thereafter explaining that he's referring to his rap career.
Yeah, that's
is,
kind of
is
important.
conveniently
So
left
out of context, the kid was arrested and now he's like facing terrorism charges.
No,
it's
He
unreal
didn't
to
threaten
me.
anybody or
No,
any
no,
group
no.
of people.
Prosecuting him is like arresting fucking Ice-T for saying "fuck the police."
Well, what if like a big name rapper like Kanye or someone wrote those exact lyrics, put it on an album, and then put it on the shelf?
Right? No,
Like,
no one would say shit.
He get, I mean,
because of his clout.
right? He'd get like people in the community wouldn't like it.
It's
Necessarily,
controversial,
but-
sure.
Right, but at the same time, would he be
arrested
and put in handcuffs and detained?
Dude, he's been sitting in a cell for almost a month waiting trial, but the judge ordered him without bail, declared him danger.
That
to
is
the
because
community.
that dude is not rich enough to afford a good enough lawyer to tell them to go fuck themselves.
There you go.
And
They
this
do
is-
not have a legitimate case.
This
at
is all
Fucking-
despite the fact that the police said that he was a very polite, remorseful, cooperative. When they arrested him, they searched his home and they found zero evidence that
We
he
found
was
pens
planning
and
anything
papers.
other than
We found a notepad with lyrics.
His anti-government literature.
All we found was a bunch of mixtapes.
Oh man, it's unreal. You know, like how far is this gonna go? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and it's very interesting to see how far it does go and what we're
Any
going to
any
have to
chance
do to change.
any chance that this system has to take away personal freedoms, it's taking. So like, where is the end result
And
gonna end up?
Albeit that, yeah, you can't. Again, very poor choice of words by this kid.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure, yeah,
it was
absolutely.
fucking moronic to post that. The lyrics were terrible. He's probably a horrible
Right
rapper,
after
but
the Boston Marathon.
you know, the
shit.
First
But
Amendment
he's not a
protects-
terrorist.
No,
Yeah, he's
absolutely
not a
not. The
terrorist,
First Amendment
exactly.
protects us
That's where
from
common
this
sense
shit.
comes into play.
Exactly. I don't know what it is with this culture and like ignoring context for the sake of like
Context and intent.
it's like rules exist to be more than just rules for the sake of the words that compose the rule itself, man. Come on.
Absolutely.
Please
Right.
stop being a little bit retarded.
Now on like Criminal Minds, they're gonna have an episode trying to dissect it and see if he had like actual intent to do something.
Yeah, man, it's very, very strange.
And the law states that what constitutes a terrorist threat, there has to be a claim that there's a weapon or bomb in a specific place or location. So, like, the chief of police was even quoted as saying, like, I do want to make clear that he did not make a specific threat against the school or any particular individuals. So, like, that right
okay.
there shows
So where
that
is
he
the
had
threat then?
there was no intent there for him to do
when
anything.
So when they use his statement in the court of law against him,
Who knows what's going to happen, man? I could see this case being elevated into
Stupid-
the Supreme Court, but it's
police.
absurd to think that like you could just throw something up on your Twitter page or your Facebook, and then you got people knocking on your door saying that you got to come with us.
See, that's the thing. Like, whenever you get arrested, they say like, don't speak, just shut your mouth, shut up, don't say anything, because even if you think you are going to help yourself by
Right.
explaining your situation, you can still potentially incriminate yourself, even if you are innocent.
They
of the
twist your
situation.
words,
right?
with
Exactly.
legalese.
So, like, whenever these police chiefs and stuff make these statements, you know, that's going to be used against them.
Yeah.
So if the police chief just kept his mouth shut,
Now, what this kid should have done is when stuff like this happens, you have to use social media to your advantage, man. You have to get the word out to every single person. Kind of like the guy who was arrested for drinking the Arizona iced tea bottle, and how that video pretty much
It's
went
ridiculous.
viral. Yeah, when stuff like this happens, because that guy doesn't have proper representation, is the very reason why he's been sitting in there for a month waiting. Because there isn't some lawyer, or some very good lawyer, knocking on people's doors, be like, "Yo, this is bullshit. Throw this out now." Unfortunately, he's poor, so. He's kind of stuck shit out of luck as far as that concerned.
And what a travesty for like a 17, 18-year-old kid just about to graduate high school to like get into the workplace and like his whole future ahead of him just to be
Albeit a
arrested.
stupid
Right.
kid,
Right.
but still a
Sure.
kid with potential to turn his shit around and be a functioning citizen and adult.
Now it's just going to prison. There you go.
Yeah, man, it's the same schools to prison pipeline you just talked about earlier, son. This shit is so multifaceted.
Yeah, man, very interesting, and very interested in seeing how that ends up, where that ends up going. Like Jeff said, man, that could turn into like a landmark case. So who knows? Very interesting with this kid, and this is another story that I kind of was doing. I wanted to briefly mention. I did a work about this kid in Orlando. He, I guess, was connected somewhat to the Boston Marathon bombings. I guess he knew he was Ibrahim Todashev. He was a former Boston resident. I guess he knew the Tsarnaev brothers in particular, the older one from. I guess he did martial arts and boxing together. and he recently moved down to Orlando. So, the FBI goes to interview this guy, and, there's more details coming out, but supposedly they were asking him about this triple slaying or whatever that happened in September of 2011, and he acknowledged that he was involved with that, and he also said that Zarnaev, the older dude, he was involved with some bad drug deal. But they said that he lunged at the guy with a knife, and the FBI agent shot him and killed him. And it's kind of interesting just because there's I heard a lot about it in like local news, like in Florida news and Orlando news, where I do kind of in Central Florida. I didn't hear a ton about it on nationwide news, and
they glossed over it in NPR. They just mentioned
which
it.
Is
moved
normally
on.
what they do with these cases, that they want to keep quiet, or they don't want all the details coming out. And I'm not, trying to imply that there's some fuckery afoot here, but I'm saying there's a strong possibility there is. Which who knows? I mean, again, it depends on what you believe and how you think it all went down. But possibilities around that you can kind of engineer a storyline around getting this guy murked.
Yeah, kind of another weird story to pile on to this whole situation, I guess you could say. Because, I mean...
It boils down to, who watches the Watchmen? They're the ones that have the power, and they're using it to their full advantage. Who's to say that they're wrong, and now we need to, stop them? You can't stop them. They're the fucking FBI. They're, what are they going to do?
JFK tried to stop him.
Yeah,
what happened
he got
there?
murked in the street.
Go watch that, dude. By the way, I mean, I not to add on to this, but I saw some new footage that I hadn't seen before about how in JFK, right before he rounded that last little area where he was kind of driving, where he got shot, these special Secret Service dudes were walking along with the car the entire time during that whole parade. And then right before that, one of the Secret Service dudes waved all the guys off, and they were at the whole time walking alongside the car. And then right before that, they wave him off. They round the corner, and he gets shot.
The car also slowed down.
The car
as well.
slowed down,
and there was multiple bullets. I don't care what the fuck you say.
And they try and say one of them swung around and went through the other guy, then came out and went into. It's a bunch of garbage, but very interesting. Another topic. Yeah, you can do your own research.
There's no transparency, and then you come out with a law that's like the Freedom of Information Act, and you can try to appeal to get these documents. And then you get the documents back, and they're just straight up redacted.
Out.
It's like 18 pages of black fucking ink.
Yeah.
Interesting how that works, isn't it? Anyway.
Well, it's blatant abuse of power. And just like another case came out, it was this activist, Adam Kokesh. He's a pretty outspoken civil rights kind of a little extreme. He's calling for... a new American Revolution here on July 4th. He wants people to march on all the state capitals, it's a little drastic in my opinion. He was recently arrested at a pro-pot rally, for no reason. He was stirring up the crowd and he was getting everybody into it and stuff. And then police walked into the crowd and just pulled him out and said that they just arrested him. And they fucking.
They said that he tried, he attacked one of the officers, but then they had a bunch of video.
There was
evidence.
so much video evidence of this going down. The cops just walked into the thing. He had a speakerphone, like a megaphone kind of thing. He put down the megaphone and they just pulled him out of the crowd. And he didn't do anything. He didn't resist. He didn't try to hit anyone. They arrested him. They tried to charge him with assault of an officer. And they originally thought that he had possession of marijuana, which he didn't. And you could also see someone's arm in the video, reaching under his coat, trying to put something into his pants. Blatantly, right there, fucking clear as day on the video, you see a guy that was pulled with him from the crowd reaching in, trying to get something onto him.
This is law enforcement. Why are they doing that? Why are they so? I mean, think about it. If that's what they're doing. And, they are the law enforcement. They are the, the local police. Or was it the local police that they said was doing that? Why? I mean, you got to ask yourself that question and think of the motive behind and the reasons why they are trying to do that. They do not like what this guy is saying. It kind of goes against what they're... And albeit, like you said, it's a little extreme. This guy is talking about, having a revolution on July 4th. I'm not, necessarily pro-revolution. I'd like to think that we could slowly but surely, start making choices to get us geared. Because it's not like... Especially in the U.S., yes, the corruption is so vast and widespread, but there's so much good to this country and the reasons why.
I think. I mean, the only way to get for major change to happen is large protests. That's what we've seen in the history of the world, civilization, and specifically the U.S. Large protests led to many changes, major changes. So I don't necessarily have as long as it's not a violent protest.
Well,
I don't have any problems with it. But
on the other hand,
hey.
you have laws now that are tweaked so that you can declare someone's protest just illegal right off the bat, and then from there, there's no point. There's no other point to go to then to get violent. They're instigating it by saying, "Oh, you're an illegal assembly, and you need to disperse."
That's the thing. Like if you have a lot of people there at a rally and they try and disband it, and you're doing it peacefully, and it gets disbanded in a very unpeaceful manner, that's going to cause more controversy.
The whole Occupy Wall Street movement has been shut down the entire time with that tactic.
Well, this is when things start getting a little scary because. You look at our government, which is the largest military on the planet, bigger than the next 27 combined, 25 of which are our allies. Mm-hmm. And now with the NDAA, they have the ability to patrol and police our streets, our own land here in the States. They're not going to give up their power easily. Yeah. And they are now showing and changing little laws, taking rights away from us, giving themselves more abilities to take that largest military on the planet and patrol our streets and the individuals that live in it.
They removed the section in our Constitution. They changed it so that they can deploy military without the consent of the governed.
Absolutely.
Without the local state police or the
Again, it's
unreal, man.
You start to connect the dots, and it starts painting a picture.
And this guy,
impute wrong motives, but look at what's happening.
I don't agree fully with everything he has to say, but he has some very valid points about our system and how it's failed us completely. He brings up some stuff here in what he wrote in prison. He said, when a government has repeatedly and deliberately failed to follow its own laws, violated the fundamental human rights of its citizens, threatened the sanctity of a free press, created institutions intended to eliminate privacy, it's waged war. I'm paraphrasing here because it's very long, but he's right. I mean, you
killing hundreds of children with drone strikes.
You sell your future generations to debt slavery and abuse its power to suppress political opposition. Mm-hmm. It's unfit to exist, and it becomes the duty of the people to change it.
Right. That's in the Constitution.
The way our Constitution was written, it's up to the people to whenever check the power of the government.
Whenever the government is no longer in the best interest of the people, it is in our Constitution to it tells us straight up to overthrow, to either greatly change it or overthrow it.
Yeah. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens, what comes of this come July 4th.
You just like to think that there would be some way to go about it where the voices can actually be heard without violent protest or revolution. Like you said, I read an interesting article a while back. They said that every other generation, like not every generation, but every other generation, we have
something major,
like the Vietnam War and that whole thing that went in the 60s and everything, where it gets to a point with them in that generation where they say, okay, we've made enough of a difference. Now let's kind of call it truce for a little while and try and build off of the change that we've made. Mm-hmm. Where now it's getting to the point where you start to see a lot of youth. When you're taking away possibilities, freedoms, and their future from youths who are seeing these things like, how is this possible? And they didn't go through Vietnam. They didn't go through all these things in the past where it's starting to get to the point where we're almost due for some type of situation like that to happen because...
Well, you've had the Iraq War. You had the Afghanistan War.
Look at...
completely disenfranchising everyone involved.
We've had
the Federal Reserve. Oh, my God.
We've had that. It's just this time it came in the form of 9/11. So that was our generation.
But I think that people didn't... Since it was terrorism, we all got in this. We don't want to, and then the whole weapons of mass destruction, whatever.
It was a knee-jerk reaction. The state wanted to crack down on the ability to monitor people to make sure that they're not going to do this shit again, and they've used that, and they've turned this apparatus now onto the very people that it's supposed to govern.
And while these little dudes, 18-year-old kids, are getting arrested and threatened with 20 years in prison because of a Facebook post.
Mm-hmm. I kind of relate the government to an overprotective parent, where sometimes a parent is so afraid of something happening to their child they go too far in protecting their child.
That is not the reason why they're assholes.
And-
But I understand.
But,
I
right.
understand.
So I mean, it's like because some right. But I mean, like sometimes it's like, I mean, you have to believe that there are people in the government who do feel that way. It's like where they're not seeing this necessarily the negative of what they're doing. They're just saying like, well, we can make sure that you're safer by doing these things, even though we're monitoring you more and stuff like
we
that.
just happen
They
to be
don't-
making some money on
They
it.
don't see it that way. I
Power.
genuinely believe some of them actually see it as like we're trying to do in the best interest, you know. Whereas I'm sure there are plenty of people in there that see an opportunity to do.
That's the
whatever they need to
illusion
do, so.
that they kind of buy into. It's like that old
Right, well, that's-
saying
well, that's what they're
people
pitching,
don't do
but-
evil for the sake of evil. It's the good that they seek, like the
Right.
good, their happiness that they seek. So they kind of convince themselves in their mind that they're doing the right thing, and it's not necessarily that they're doing it for the sake of being evil. But no, I understand what you're saying. Just very interesting to see how all this works out. Now you see that yesterday there was the march against Monsanto. Protests were held in 52 countries, 436 cities.
Over 2 million people.
I mean, scientists are saying these seeds they create, they are harming the bees. Which, knowing that what you put in your mouth and your body is the most important decision that you can make, like every day. They're poisoning our children, our planet. And if we don't act, what's going to happen? What are we going to do? Where is it going to end?
There's so much talk on both sides of the issue. I mean, there's people that believe that GMOs are the future, that's how we're going to sustain everyone, and that it could do no harm. And then there's the people on the other side of the fence who think that, like, if you eat them, you're going to die. And then there's evidence to support both of them, because there's people on both sides that are being that have huge monetary interests in persuading the people in either direction. So, like, whether or not the verdict is out on GMOs and whether they do cause damage and stuff, it's still to be seen.
There has to be a dialogue. You can't give them immunity. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the issue.
That's
It's
the thing. It's the actual immunity that large corporations are getting.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the laws that are there to protect them. You know, it's like,
It's super
how about more of a system that protects everyone in general?
Right, and it's
You know, not
it's super
just one
frustrating to
specific
see
group.
like studies that show like rats and stuff eat GMO corn and then get humongous tumors, and that their consistent staple of their diet is nothing but GMO corn.
Right.
And it's like how much of that stuff is in everything that we eat, and how is that going to affect the long term health of the nation of people? Like, I mean, we need to definitely look into this stuff more than have a lot of vested interest in it
like
for us.
the little girl who went to the McDonald's shareholder meeting, the 9-year-old girl, and spoke up to the CEO. You know, I mean, like, kudos to her. I mean, for
we don't sell junk food.
yeah.
It's like-
But that's the thing. Like, you know, you do have a voice. People do have a voice, and especially if you know where to do it and at the right time. And having a 9-year-old girl at a shareholder meeting go up to the mic and, you know, speak up to McDonald's, it's like
But we got to keep it
that's
up.
smart. You know,
look
that's
at-
really smart.
You look
to be
at
honest.
this kid who's in the wheelchair, went up to Mitt Romney in the campaign, and he was telling him, like, marijuana is the only thing that keeps me functioning. It keeps me where I can eat. He was I think he had like cancer and all this other shit that he was dealing with. And Mitt Romney, have you tried the synthetic marijuana? And it's like,
yes,
do you
that
know
kills
anything
people.
Yes,
about
that
anything,
kills
dude?
people, exactly.
That actually that will send people to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, all the time. I cannot tell you how many fucking stories I've done on the synthetic marijuana. You're basically smoking potpourri.
Yeah.
And he's trying to tell this poor kid who's sitting there like, what are his options, right? So he's like, let me ask this politician, this person who's supposedly being appointed to speak for me or for the people. And he replies, have you tried the synthetic drug or whatever? And it's like,
Have
dude,
you tried not being poor?
yeah, have you tried? Exactly. And it's like, that's what really drives me crazy, when that's what you're met with when you try and bring it up or make a difference. And it's like, these people have completely lost what it is that they're doing, because they're there for the people. Or that it's this illusion of democracy.
Well, Mitt Romney doesn't have to worry about food or healthcare or anything because he's a cyborg.
Yeah, and then you can just fight. Oh, we'll just justify and say we can't do this because the Republicans won't let the Democrats do it, or the House is run by this side and it conflicts with the Senate,
Right.
and all this
Bipartisan
bullshit.
bipartisan politics is a joke. I
Well,
mean,
filibusters and-
people are waking up to the fact that all these control structures exist, and like once we can break those down, we can live a little bit free.
And these senators
more
and
free.
congressmen, they just spend their time on the phone with lobbyists in Congress, and it's weird. They have these little rooms that they go to and shit where they fucking go back and forth and try and decide which way they're going to vote.
I feel like that's been the key word out of DC for the past like 3 or 4 years is the word like bipartisan.
Yeah.
Like every time I hear it, I feel like I'm at Pee Wee's Playhouse and like everything's just like, like screaming and stuff. But I mean, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, you keep saying bipartisan and we keep doing all these bipartisan things and stuff. How come
It's a pendulum.
How come this Congress
it swings back and forth, and there's sides to both issues, and they keep everyone fucking guessing.
Well, this last session of Congress was the worst Congress in passing laws. So they passed the least amount of laws than any other session of Congress.
Good job, guys.
So it's like, all right, so you're
most
saying
of them have no fucking clue
and they
what
just
they're
keep
voting for.
just keep saying bipartisan, nothing. You know, nothing's getting passed. So
Yeah,
and the stuff that does get passed, it's like, oh, okay, well, thanks for that, I guess.
You see, in Michigan, they're saying that now you can smoke and still drive a car. I'm interested to see how this gets. I guess you're starting to see a lot of states that are making their own choices and kind of lean towards where they ultimately think that we're going to go on a federal level, or at least hopefully. But
good luck.
Michigan Supreme Court, they ruled on Tuesday, albeit it's a technicality, but they had or do have a zero tolerance policy for driving under the influence of marijuana. It also has a law in the books that exempts medical marijuana users from any sort of persecution for its use. The court had to decide which of the two laws it wanted to uphold, and I guess
had to uphold both.
Yeah, well, it says that impairs driving judgment enough to be considered under the influence. Simply outlawing drugged driving altogether went too far. So the state, if the state could prove that the medical marijuana user was under the influence, then they could be legally convicted for driving after using the drug. But yeah, they said that it doesn't necessarily impair just because you're smoking. It doesn't mean that you are necessarily impaired or you can't be driving. Interesting. Really quick before we move on to, I know I want to talk about some science shit.
Yeah,
science. But this girl who was arrested for that science experiment.
Little follow-up story.
Yeah, a little follow-up update. This she got a funded trip to space camp.
That is so awesome.
They dropped all the charges, and a NASA guy, he saw what happened to her, was feeling pretty shitty, and he sponsored her and her sister to go to space camp.
You know, this girl is going to grow up to do something crazy now.
Science.
She's going to
She'll be an astronaut or something. That'll be awesome.
She's going to do something serious.
It's
Explosions
so cool,
in space.
and you're not just like hearing about it in a classroom. Like they actually get to go to the floor in the spacecraft simulators and experience like zero gravity. She's going to get to do all that shit. So that's pretty cool, man. And that's that's the way that they should be teaching most kids. That fucking space camps. That's awesome.
So in the end, the hate level of her school is actually a good thing. If they didn't decide to blow everything ridiculously out of proportion, she wouldn't have been going to space camp.
She got her 15 minutes of fame and 15-hour
blessing in
space
disguise.
camp.
Blessing in disguise. Well, just moving on to God. Jeff brought this up. This is so cool, and it just shows. I mean, we're always talking about Elon Musk and Tesla and Mars missions and all this shit. But Tesla Motors already repaid DOE loans 9 years early.
Fucking awesome.
They were I think he mentioned last week that they were in $1 billion surplus.
Yeah, they sold some stocks. They went on the market or whatever, and they had over $1 billion in surplus. So they decided to repay the Department of Energy loan with interest, like right off the bat.
See,
that's so awesome.
Like I'm totally behind electric cars and stuff, but this was their first quarter where they actually turned a profit. And it was in the tens of millions. I think it was somewhere around 15 million. So, but looking at it, most of their profit came from their stock that they had sold. So I figured, I hope this isn't something where it's like they went public with their company and they raised all this money and then their stock's going to dip and then they're back in the red.
I don't think so, man.
I hope that they can stay in the black and stay up there.
They're like the
progress.
Premier electric vehicle car right now.
Yeah,
and
their car's review rating got like a flawless rating.
Yeah, but review ratings and sales are two different things.
They also produce electric components for Daimler Chrysler and Mercedes.
Yeah, they do have a lot of patents, which is good for them. and that's the thing.
I just don't see them
So-
going under, man.
Yeah,
like, they're too
they
good.
have no problem. I don't like you said. They have to be able to sell, but they're the
Right.
only. They're the only car company that does not have a showroom floor, but are always sold out of their cars.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they're gonna have to worry about like sales. People are already wanting to buy the cars. They actually don't make
the
them
interest
fast
is
enough.
there.
Mhm.
Yeah, the interest is definitely there.
And he's actually trying to make. The thing about that I'm excited about is they want to do an economic line of electronic cars,
Right.
so that everyone will be able to afford them. Like they've already been through phase 1 and 2, which is making the really expensive Roadster, and then making a slightly more expensive like sedan version. And next one,
Coupe.
they're trying to make everyone.
See, I think right
available
now,
to
since
everyone.
battery technology and stuff isn't that far along to where you can have, cars that get 400, 500, 600 miles on a charge. It's like, for me, I think the car that if I were to buy an electric car, it would be the Volt. But the thing about the Volt is it only gives me 40 miles. If it could give me like 80 miles, it's almost like a clear-cut deal. Like you basically have an electric car unless you go on long trips, So, but again, they looked at statistics, and 73% of commuters only drive 40 miles to and from work in a day. So that's why they give it the 40-mile range, But if you could do like the Nissan Leaf range with the small engine that gets 50 miles per gallon on the side, hey man, like the Volt would be it. That'd be the it car.
yeah,
But
it's
It just looks like shit.
It drives me
Ah.
crazy
Yeah, I mean-
because, you hear these stories about how in the 70s Shell, bought these patents for these engines that can get like 160 miles a gallon, and they just bury them.
Yeah.
And
There was a guy that
we keep
made
on-
an engine that runs on water,
yeah.
and he died actually.
Yeah, it's funny
Surprise,
how that
surprise.
works out. But that's what drives me crazy is like, we're just fighting over 40 miles per gallon or 50 miles per gallon
Right.
or whatever, when it's like we could be having these, fully customizable vehicles that we can, anything that we wanted to change, we could just add to it or take off, and they would be completely reliable, and you wouldn't have to buy a new one. You could just add to or take away from and continue to customize. But no, we have to, build shit that breaks down, and that's the way of the world. Anyway, maybe they'll have some 3D printers up in these Teslas in the near future. That'd be pretty sweet. Open up the glove box and be like, I'm hungry. I want some pizza.
give me my burger.
Yeah, give me my burger. But now NASA invests in a 3D food printer for the Mars mission. I guess this food project, they want to, pardon me, I guess they're heading over to, let me see, they print layers of food from cartridges, from powders and oils, like creating like this little nutritious meal. And they can actually print out any organic material with the right ingredients inside. So insect-based pizza may be the meal of choice. Contractor says already made I guess they already made some chocolate from the printer, which
Chocolate,
is pretty damn cool that
chocolate.
they're printing out chocolate as a proof of concept. So now they're moving on to like pizza, and they would all the cartridges would have a 30-year shelf life.
Holy shit!
See, this is the byproduct of the invention of the 3D printer.
Yep.
It's like you go, wait, hold on a second. What about food? Oh boy, it's like bling.
Which-
like brains start lighting up, and
I guess
30-year shelf life. What are they putting in that?
have the
organic
dough,
food.
the dough, which would be cooked by a hot plate while being printed, the sauce, which would be a mixture of tomato powder, oil, and water,
I'm pretty sure
and
this
then
is
you
the
get
Jetsons.
a protein.
We're
This
getting
is,
there,
this
man.
is the Jetsons. You hit the button, and then it's just like bling.
We're a
and your
flying
food
car
comes
and a
out.
3D printed pizza away. Fucking robot made. We're so close.
Yes.
That's pretty cool, man. Jeez, that they're printing out kidneys.
If you
and
think
fucking
fucking,
bionic ears.
if you think printer ink is expensive, wait till you have to reload your pizza cartridge.
You're sick of buying toner, just wait.
But yeah, because what if you buy like the half cartridge versus the full cartridge? Then we're gonna see like infomercials like, here, fill up your food printer with our cartridges, at a discounted price.
And now
Plus shipping and
this
handling.
Australian scientists, now they can print flexible solar panels,
Yeah, man.
which
I
is
saw that.
so
Well,
badass.
the
dude.
military has been trying to do that for a while. They wanted to make like their tents, their large tents that they use. I'm sure you've set up a few of those in your days, Rico. They wanted to put solar panels on like the tops of those, and then so when you roll it up and everything, it just rolls right up.
That's a great idea.
Pretty clever, yeah.
They also wanted to make soldiers' outfits.
Which
out
watch
of
this guy fucking
not
die.
like solar panels, but like some sort of solar absorbing material. Essentially a solar panel, I guess.
Right.
But it would be able to not only harness your body heat, but the sun's radiant heat and all this stuff to
amazing.
gather energy, and everyone would have like a small battery pack on them as well. And
You'll see that charging cars. They'll be on the roof of cars. You'll see it on like car parks and stuff.
Fuck all that.
They need to be on there.
When do they get it so that I could charge up enough and shoot my own fireball? That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? Get some Dynamo Jack shit going on.
Who knows, dude? Yeah, man,
Use my key.
That's just so amazing to me that like this is like the world that we're living in now, and I want to like. I like seeing people actually able to do things like this rather than getting. I'd hate to see this technology just being brushed to the side. I mean, we're talking about things that can literally change the world.
The only thing,
energy, free.
The main reason that would get pushed to the side is if someone had control of the energy production and they didn't want it to change because they'd lose money.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Dude, in Southwest, I believe it's like Charlotte County, Florida. I used to do news down there, and they had this one guy in particular. He took the compost or whatever, I guess the methane from the trash. I think I called the
poo gas.
The article, I think I named it "One Man's Trash is Another Man's Energy," something like that. And this guy was basically taking all the trash. He was processing it or whatever, getting the methane out of it and turning it into energy. And he just had this excess of energy at his house that all his neighbors wanted to buy from him. He was trying to find ways that he could sell it. And the city
shut him down.
Said, you cannot sell to anybody. And with all that excess energy, his only course of action was to sell it back to the city at a reduced price. So he couldn't give that shit away.
Don't even think about interrupting my monopoly. What are you thinking?
So that stuff like that drives me fucking bonkers.
Well, like if you have solar panels on your home and you're not drawing more energy than you're taking, you're actually producing more energy than you're taking in, then you actually sell it back to you have to sell it back to the city. So they just suck the excess power from your home, and then they just put it on your bill. Like they just take the money off your bill. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, you can't sell it to someone else. You can't just like hook up your home and another home.
Yeah,
it's two different accounts, two different lines.
Yeah, don't be fucking with
You
my
cannot
shit.
mess with that.
Powering through, this Japanese company, they're trying to build a
space elevator
to space.
That's pretty
this
epic.
is one of those like Ray Kurzweil things that you hear about every once in a while, the things that could be coming in the future in the next couple decades.
They've been thinking about this for so long, and the logistics of how to build an elevator to space. Yeah. It's amazing to think like this is the breakthrough that we need to build like space colonies and shit. Like to be able to put cheaply fucking material out into space to build with. It's going to change the game. Like it costs so much money to propel something into space with conventional rocket power.
Right.
Like it's fucking
They're
ridiculous.
saying that it's the elevator will be 22,000 miles high and will connect Earth to a space station. The ground station on Earth and the space station will be connected together through a table.
Right.
And they will also the elevator will carry about 30 people at a time. It will take 8 days, which seems like a lot of time, but the 8 days to reach the space station, I guess they're going to be going about 125 miles an hour.
Wow.
I'd say pump the air out of that tunnel and you could do as fast as you want.
I don't think it's going to be a tunnel. It would probably be just a tether, like a line, and they just like have something
Carbon
to roll up the
Have
thing.
you, this is like super heavy in the Halo franchise, and in their miniseries that they have, Forward Unto Dawn, there's a space tether, a space elevator. And so whenever the Covenant come to Earth, they actually like destroy the elevator, and you just see it like collapsing and stuff. It was a really cool scene from the show. But
that's been something that's been purported in science fiction all the time, like that whole concept of a fucking space ring, like Halo ring kind of thing.
The Japanese, though, I guess they're saying that America's taking too long, and this is like a $1 trillion project, but I guess they said that it's
I feel like this would be
done in like
way
35
more
years.
than $1 trillion project.
Yeah, when it's all said and done. When it's all
I'm going to say this would be
probably.
trillions, but
well, good for them, man. They get blasted into
it's a massive
21st
undertaking.
century.
Hopefully, when they're done, they can start making some Gundams, and I can see a functional one before I die.
Some fucking space Gundams.
Yeah, exactly.
It's happening.
Yeah,
fucking Japan has
that show. I really liked that show. It had some filler and stuff.
Which
but
one?
I liked it. I liked Gundam Wing.
Okay, I thought it was a little boring in my taste. Like,
it had a little too much filler. It could have been condensed.
I liked MS-08. Did you
Yeah.
ever see that one?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder
was
what
good.
the smoking policy is going to be in space, like what the rules are going to be, because now that's coming out that marijuana can help control blood sugar and help people stay slimmer. So maybe that shit will help out. Up
Can
in
you smoke
space.
in your spacesuit? You got a little.
Get
Do you
like a
think-
little vapor action.
do you
Dude,
think that-
that's the thing right there? Have a built-in vapor in your. Yeah,
Do you think someone has actually smoked in space? Marijuana.
Doubt it.
I think this is a test
I don't-
that I need to do. So if you'd like to sponsor my space endeavors,
We're going to start a Kickstarter. We're going to send Jeff to space.
It's a space camp first.
Yeah, space
smoke
camp
this
first.
weed in space.
Zero gravity
Space
stoner.
weed.
That'd be awesome.
Zero gravity.
Oh yeah,
baby.
imagine you get that Mars strain going.
Funky
Growing with
space
that
weed.
Mars dirt.
We call this the Martian Manhunter.
Muscle Manhunter. But interesting though, man. Again, we talk about it all the time. You know, these are things that can be done. There's so many sides to the story. There, you've got the marijuana, where it's the psychoactive, where actually people smoking that in itself, they can find benefits. And then just the hemp, the completely non-psychoactive form, the hemp seeds, and all the nutritional value and things, medicinal value you can get from those. And it seems like every day there's something new that comes out. Again, these are things that it goes so far against what is set in place, where people have all this monetary gain to, you know, have people, again, there's no money in the cure, it's only money in the treatment. So they don't like people, you know, being able to do things without having to take this and that and fucking, you know, be prescribed to this. But I think it's interesting and it's important, again, that we share the information, and the more people hear about it and get to be familiar with the idea about it and understand that it's been so demonized, you know, in our culture by our government and media over the last several decades that it's kind of hard. It's got to be hard. I know that it took me a while. It took me years to fully understand and wrap my head around the fact that I was being lied to for years and years and years.
And more people are seeing that every day.
Yeah, and I think
the awareness is growing every single day.
You
And
can thank the internet for that.
yeah.
Absolutely. But
Well, there's major corporations getting behind it now. So once you get really large corporations behind it, because they see that they can make some money, then you're going to see a complete 180 in thinking and philosophy.
Yeah, and you're starting to see a lot of people who do have money that are saying, "Listen, this is legit. No more of this bullshit, the reefer madness, just garbage. Time to get with the program." And just real quick, I don't know if you guys heard about this chick, this little girl. I guess she's headed to Harvard, and she's 18, but she invented an invention.
Oh.
Wow.
20-second cell phone charger.
Amen.
And another one of those things that you hate to see like fall to the wayside, and hope that they continue to develop that. But good on that girl. I mean, it just goes to show you that there are some brilliant people out there that are doing amazing things, and who knows with that girl what she's all about, what she's doing. But the fact that she was able to even figure something like that out, and unique to herself and her mind, that she was able to make that breakthrough, that's pretty impressive.
Some university just developed an algorithm to charge lithium-ion batteries twice as fast, because you have to have, you know, when you charge lithium-ion batteries, you have to have some program governing how fast it charges and where it charges and all this stuff. And they just redid the algorithm that charges it, and now they can charge twice as fast. And it doesn't damage the battery or anything in any way, shape, or form. Just charges it more efficiently.
That's
Awesome. That
yeah,
sounds
very
pretty cool.
So they said it would be probably about 2 years till that hit like mainstream products and stuff. So.
Well, we're gonna on that note, we're going to power through into sports. Oh my God, the NBA playoffs still bumping, dude. Well, they're gonna be bumping for another.
Not
month or
bumping
so.
for Memphis.
Poor Memphis, man. Were you watching that game?
I was 2 overtime games in a row, and I don't know, man. I like them. I like Memphis a lot.
Yeah.
And not to say that I dislike San Antonio, but I really like Memphis, and I've been kind of rooting for them out of the West, and I don't know, man. 2 overtime games, they just lost. They just don't have that go-to guy, you know.
Yeah, man, it's interesting. I think that again, the salty veterans, the San Antonio Spurs
Yeah.
and Duncan.
That
I know it's
experience.
not super sexy, And I think, but it does get me pumped up for the finals, which I just think for, the historical significance, the Duncan versus LeBron, it might not sound very sexy at first, but I think it will prove to be in the long run.
Look, that team is healthy right now. They need to get all the credit that San Antonio deserves.
Absolutely.
Because they would have been in the playoffs last year.
Just great coaching.
If they weren't
great
so banged up.
Smart play, high basketball IQ. These guys know what they're doing out there. And
so, I would like to see Heat versus San Antonio. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, me neither. I know that, of course, after the game on Friday night, there's going to be a lot of people. And listen, I mean, you can look at last year, we were down 2-1 to the Pacers in the semifinals. And, you can look at it and be worried. I think that ultimately what it came down to in the end, yes, there was a lot of things during the game that we could have gone better. Those two big turnovers by LeBron at the end. And he had, I believe, 5 or 6 throughout the whole game. Yeah. But
I wish he just would have been a little more aggressive at the end. It's like no one's going to be no one's going to be angry at the greatest player on the planet for trying to make the game-winning layup, shot, or whatever.
It's almost like since the first one, he did that, and he had the game-winning shot. He was like, okay, let me show that I'm also now, if they're expecting me to take the shot, I'm going to distribute it and get somebody else to take it.
I feel like they did play. The first tip was just unfortunate because, he threw it over his head. And what's his name?
David
Randolph.
West.
No, was it West? Yeah, you're right. West. I don't know why I said Randolph. I was thinking Memphis.
Randolph.
West just stuck his hand out there and poked it, And so that was unfortunate. Like, that happens throughout games. But they did have good defense on the next play, and he just kind of forced the ball, forced the pass. And West, again, stuck his hand out and poked that thing out. But I do wish that he was trying to be a little bit more aggressive on both those plays. I mean, he was the second play, but then their defense kind of stepped up and filled the lane and everything. But unfortunately, in late game situations, we go to the isolation play a little too much, and people don't move.
Yes.
So if the isolation gets shut down,
LeBron,
his passing lanes are toast. But what about that pass that he had to Mike Miller right before half?
That was beautiful.
How crazy was that pass?
That was so sick. I saw Mike Miller grab his ribs.
Yeah. They interviewed him. They asked him why did you get hurt or something out there? And he said, just haven't had a lot of playing time, so just getting back into the rhythm of things, So, but I love Charles Barkley. He, at the end of the game, he said, Miller, I love you, but if you're getting hurt on wide open 3-point shots, he's like, it's time to come on TV.
Dude, I love Miller too. It's going to be interesting. I think providing that Wade can stay healthy, I'm not sweating it, man. We're locked at 1-1. It's basically a 5-game series now.
It's going to be a bruiser, but it's going to be a bruiser. But the Heat in Game 3, their gameplay is going to have to, and I'm sure everyone involved. They're going to get. We need some more. We need production out of our 3-point shooters right now.
We definitely.
LeBron is the one making the threes.
Now's the time. Mike Miller, Shane Battier, Ray Allen, those guys start getting on a run.
They need to. They really need to alleviate the pressure.
And it's tough not having the crowd behind you. You know, losing that game and going to their hometown. They got the momentum.
Because the Pacers crowd is going to be just going crazy. Crazy.
But, keep throwing the Birdman in there and getting that energy up. And Cole, I think, is going to have to play a larger role.
Getting some Raptor strikes.
Somehow we have to mitigate Hibbert. I don't know how. We have to get him in foul trouble. That's how we mitigate him. We're not going to stop him defensively. So the only thing that we can do to slow him down is get him in foul trouble and get him off the court.
Yeah,
that's it.
That guy is a baller.
LeBron tried to do that in Game 1. He did pretty successful and kind of limited his minutes Game 1. But he's just too big. 7'2", and he's got, I don't know how many more pounds he has on Bosch, but he's just down inside camping.
He's
and
a bruiser, man.
He just catches the ball and he just instantly throws it up there and it just goes in.
A lot of athletic ability for a guy that big and strong, and I think Hibbert, he's definitely being, if he wasn't already, he's starting to get more into the national limelight, at least in the sports world.
Speaking of national limelight, Paul George, he played huge, and you saw whenever him and LeBron,
the little handshake at the end of the third or whatever.
Whenever George hit the three, and then LeBron ran down and hit the three.
Because George last year, LeBron was shooting free throws in a very important point in a game, and he missed one. And this guy last year who hadn't gotten like barely any
Right.
minutes at the time, he hadn't played. He was sitting there doing the choke sign,
the choke sign
on
right.
on the side on the benches or whatever. And everybody was just like, "Come on, dude! I mean, like you're just kind of." Which it's not the end of the world, but it was like, slow your roll a little bit there, big guy. And now I guess he's been playing really well, and that was a very classy move by LeBron.
I could just kind of feel it. I text my friend like at the halfway through the third quarter. I texted him. I said, "LeBron's going to need 40 points to win this game," and he had 36. So, but if he would have had the extra 6 points, we would have won that game. And it came down to it. It was those last two plays where I really wish he would have been more aggressive, and he probably would have gotten fouled on one of those plays, hopefully, so he had a chance for an and one and something, but. I don't know. I mean, it's
this kind of it leads
you
to
can't pick at little things here and there. We need to shoot better at the free throw line too. We wouldn't be in these situations if we shot better from the free throw line.
Something LeBron already identified as a huge thing that he's going to be working on this offseason. But it brings up a good question that you heard about Alonzo Mourning, how he came out and said that Scottie Pippen told him that LeBron would kick MJ's ass. And
Scottie Pippen.
Yeah. So that's like Michael Jordan changed everything, dude. He just literally changed everything. There was never a guy like that was like him that came about before him, and he was transcendent. I mean, he just completely changed the way you gotta give Michael or David Stern some credit because he deserves a lot of blame too. But the way that they kind of organized the league around these individual players and their success. But Michael Jordan, with his competitive nature and his natural ability, but his hard work and dedication to be a better person and make everybody around him better. It's interesting that LeBron is not in that conversation yet because he's only got one championship and he's got a long way to go.
He's got time.
But you give a little, foresight, like, kind of just entertain the idea that if LeBron does get into that 4, 5, 6 championships type of area, you're going to have a very legitimate conversation going on there because LeBron is a superior, in my opinion, athlete. I mean, if you look at his size, speed,
no doubt,
everything, defensive player, he can cover more different kinds of people, anywhere from point guard up to a center. He can run the point. He can do a lot of different things for your.
In game one, he defended every single player on the Pacers team at some point in time in the game.
Yeah, and
that's impressive.
I think that
what other player could do that?
LeBron is. If you were watching these games again, most entertaining basketball I've seen since Jordan. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know if you remember watching. I'm sure you do, watching those old games with Jordan. It was like. Again, that feeling that you're watching the best of the best, like the best that's ever laced it up. And I get that feeling when I watch LeBron play. It's very interesting to see how providing that there's no, injuries or anything that really sets him back. And I don't think that he's going anywhere. I think he's going to re-sign down here. We're going to continue to build around him.
What is his reason for leaving? Everyone says like, oh, he may go back to Cleveland and stuff like.
Why? So he can be going through what Kevin Durant's going through now again?
Right. It's like he left Cleveland because they wouldn't put anything around him.
Yeah.
He single-handedly brought them to the finals,
and he's got such a good team now, surrounding him.
Yeah, and an owner
top to bottom,
and an owner that's going to build around him. Yeah,
owner, president, coach.
In 3 years, from now, we may have to do a restructuring. All right, so for a year or two, we may not be the team in the league, but you got to figure after those 2 years, they're going to be rebuilding even more. Because that's what they're going to do.
The Spurs didn't win 4 in a row. They had to do a little bit of rebuilding in between there.
We just need Memphis to win at least 2 games. To try and wear down San Antonio.
Yeah, I would like to see. Man, that was really. I think that was their shot. I'm kind of scared that they're going to get swept now.
Yeah.
I think if they won that game, which they should have won it in regulation. But
it's 2 games they should have won in regulation.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, they kind of tightened up. They tightened up their offense a little too much. Their defense kind of lacks. San Antonio, they're veteran guys. They know what to do.
And it's interesting to see now also what's going to happen with Dwight Howard. The Lakers took a real gamble at trading all that away just to get him for one season. And look at what happened. And now this guy's a free agent, and he could be going to. They're saying he could be going to the Rockets, the Mavericks, the Hawks, the Warriors. Who knows? He could stay with the Lakers. I think that Kobe's definitely going to be trying to get him to stay. But at the same time, if you're not feeling it there, and you're getting a bunch of shit, and you don't feel like it's the right situation for you, and he does have every right in the world to go, somewhere else.
Yeah. I don't personally. I wouldn't want him on my team because of the baggage that he brings to the team. But I don't know. He still is a good player. He still is definitely a really good player.
For sure.
And when he's 100% healthy, he can really get inside and
he's like
do some damage.
Yeah.
But for him to go to like, I know it probably won't happen, but for him to maybe go to like Golden State or something, there was some talk about that. That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
That would be pretty sick.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
That's what they need is a big man down low to just bang around.
If he was more comfortable, like being in a place where he was kind of like the dude, and he had a lot of talented younger guys around him, where if he's not having fun with Kobe, I mean, I don't think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But he's you can tell that's kind of a toxic situation that they got going on there with the Lakers with D'Antoni, and who knows what's going on with that guy. He said if I don't get them to the champion, or I know he said if I don't get them to the playoffs, I shouldn't be here next year, which he barely got them. I don't think he got them anywhere, but they got into the playoffs.
I don't think
one
he
way
is
or another.
going to be there next year.
But that guy's gone. I think.
Regardless.
Last night, UFC 160, Cain Velasquez, he beat the shit out of Silva again, winning a first round knockout, I guess. But this time it was his boxing that did it. And he just landed a solid right hook to the guy's chin. And he fell to the mat, dude. 121 after it started. And kind of like a lackluster, anticlimactic main event. But still.
Well, was Silva knocked out clean? Silva was the one who lost, right?
No. Yeah, he knocked out Silva. It was Velasquez who won.
Yeah.
That's got to hurt. That has to hurt so bad.
Nah, man, not as much as it hurts your pride. As a fighter, I'm sure you're used to taking blows. It's the losing on national television.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
All right, so here's a hypothetical. Would you rather go hit for hit with Velasquez or Mike Tyson in his prime?
Fuck. Mike. No,
would
Velasquez.
I'd rather go hit for hit, like boxing.
Do you realize?
I'd rather boxing with Velasquez, dude. Yeah. Nobody wants to fuck with Mike Tyson in boxing.
Do you realize Mike Tyson would literally, if he landed, if we were unguarded and he actually threw his strongest punch, it would kill us instantaneously. There's no doubt.
Before
there
he
is
went
no
to
doubt
jail,
in my mind.
Before he went to jail for the rape charges or whatever. That dude was the baddest. That was like the Genghis Khan of our current era as far as bad motherfuckers go.
That teen killed that soccer referee by hitting him. I mean, so think about what Mike Tyson would do. It would just like cave in your face if he punched you.
And
in the face.
He talks so much shit too. Like,
you have to.
And he's the worst at talking shit.
You have to.
All right, yeah, man. Well, really quick, I wanted to bring this up because this is just. Again, what we got popping off on the side, and I don't know. I would like to hear all your guys' perspective on it because I think it's interesting. This guy Sergio Garcia, he made some really shitty remarks about. I guess what happened was at this. It was like a function for the European tour, and he said that he was in. They were asking him if he'd be inviting Tiger Woods to dinner for next month's U.S. Open. He said we'll have him around every night. And we'll serve fried chicken. And that was and I guess the next morning Tiger tweeted that the comment that he was saying, it was just a silly comment. It was for a laugh. But Tiger came off on Twitter and said this was not silly. It was wrong, hurtful, and clearly inappropriate.
I have never had fried chicken before in my life. It tastes absolutely disgusting.
That there is real regret that the remark was made. The players ended nearly 2 weeks ago, and it's long past and time to move on to golf or whatever. And Sergio comes back and he apologizes, which he should have done, but I guess he was saying that it was meant to be a joke and not meant to be racist or whatever.
Yeah, saying a
Look,
black man
Sergio.
likes fried chicken. That's not
It's
racist.
like, look, Sergio, it's a racist joke. You can't dodge it. Okay, if you made that joke, it was racially intended. Even if you're not a
Hey,
racist
man.
person, you don't mean
Dude,
it badly.
I like
it's a
fried chicken.
racist joke,
Dude,
So-
okay, like it's a completely racist joke, right?
Yes,
but
absolutely.
it's like
That's
even
like
with
saying
you, like
a Spanish golfer coming to your house. Oh, I'm going to serve him tacos. You know, like
it was just a joke. It was the racist.
again,
That wasn't
think,
racist. What are you
think
talking
about
about?
who you're saying this to. The media. Like, I mean, what the fuck are you doing? You're not in like an Elks Lounge with your boys sipping on brandy.
cognac.
Still, I mean,
or just sitting there with Tiger and
Come on,
joking at
guys.
him,
the minute he said it, he could just feel the heat
Yeah,
just wafting
that's
across
what he
his
said.
face.
Like,
oh shit.
He said he couldn't sleep that night,
Oh,
and
jeez.
like,
What are you sipping on there,
literally,
Tiger? Some grape juice?
Because he knew once he said it, like, media's gonna get
Yep,
hold of this.
he
Like,
put his foot in his
he could just feel
And
the
you-
typing and the
You
writing.
know there was some
and-
shit like that, especially in the culture, like the Ben Hogan days. Like, but dude, this is 2013, bro. This is like, I mean, come on.
Shit ain't
You got
PC.
media all over the place, and you're saying this shit.
Well, the way I
Serve
see it,
fried
it's
chicken.
it's a racist joke, and it's one of those racist jokes. It's not really funny because it's been beaten to death by everyone and everything. But I don't really find it offensive. So it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, it's a stupid joke,
Stupid.
whatever,
Right.
So
and get
stupid.
over it, Tigers and whatnot.
It's ridiculous to think that like something offensive could be like against the law. You know, like since when has it become like law? Like especially coming from like Great Britain and stuff. The story about the dude that like beheaded that guy in the street. Did you hear about that? And how they're saying, oh, it was like a religious hate crime and all this stuff, and how like we need to prevent hate crimes from happening on the internet and stuff. And they're trying to like change the online laws so that you can't like troll people or whatever. Like it's a little overstepping their bounds in terms of like what offends people and what's legal or not. And it kind of ties into the quote of the week this
Very
week.
nice.
It's fucked up. So it's a pretty good quote from Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson. He said, "To criticize a person for their race is manifestly irrational and ridiculous, but to criticize the religion, that's a right. That's a freedom. The freedom to criticize ideas, any ideas, even if they're sincerely held beliefs, is one of the fundamental freedoms of society, and a law that which attempts to say that you can criticize and ridicule ideas as long as they're not religious ideas is a very peculiar law indeed." So.
Well, yeah, man, I think that definitely sits true. Just like again, freedom of speech, freedom to change your opinion, or
Freedom
differ,
to take a
just-
fucking joke.
Yeah, man.
Right. Yeah.
Agree to disagree. Like there's so many people. It's like I love that shit on Family Guy where they had like an Irish dude and a Scottish dude fighting. They're like, "You live in one town over. Screw you!" And they just like starting this huge brawl or whatever. Or people, the stupidest little things that people find to have disagreements over. And you can get into the very serious ones like freedom of religion and what your opinions are. And if that is intruding on this person's belief, if they don't believe the same thing that you do, it's that's
Or
something-
coming up with rap lyrics and getting jailed for it.
Yeah, man.
Hate.
But all right, dude. I think that only leaves us with one thing to do, and
Oh,
I think it's
yeah.
about time for that freestyle outro, baby.
Little
Oh
funk-
yeah,
little
real quick.
funky
Thank you,
jam.
Mike. We gotta remind you guys. Yeah, just real quick. Email us at the show. mentalrepspodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at Mental Reps Show. Like us on Facebook at Mental Reps Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/Mental Reps Podcast. Subscribe, rate, and comment on iTunes. That means a lot to us. So thank you guys again for downloading us a lot, leaving us comments, and also all the Facebook love that we've been getting from a few in particular, a lot of people actually. So we thank you guys for that, and keep it up. And keep in contact with us. We like to share anything that we can with you guys on the show. So I think that leaves us with the freestyle outro, dog. Let me hear that beat, dude. Let me hear that beat. Let me hear that beat. Oh yeah. Oh, sprinkle that in, dude.
Yo.
It's sprinkles.
That beat is sick.
Chilling in the strip club. DJ's fucking killing it. If you don't play my song soon, I'm finna be killing them. Sip on my drink, smoke a blunt to the face. Time to take a ride on my elevator to space.
I'm in love with a stripper, so I'ma go back. I'ma pop my trunk and I start to attack. I'ma go in the club, shoot up the bouncer, even DJ hiding under the counter.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Mental Reps Podcast, episode 10. I wish the Marlins wouldn't unload their entire bullpen. Anibal Sanchez is striking cats out, while San Antonio can't be stopped because they're in the middle of a rout. Pout for not playing my song. Watch out. Oh, never mind. He shot himself in the dong.
Oh, shit. All right. Cops setting up Corky in a sting operation. Is this really what it's come to in this fucking nation? Selling off kids to the prison system, condemning them to a life of a bleeding rectum. It's time you get a dose of your own medication as you get butt raped by a 6'10" Haitian.
Oh, man. Taking it in the butt. Mental Reps Podcast, episode 10.
We love you guys. Join us next week.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.